Come on, I clicked it. Go live. I'm going live. Is this working? Come on, just show me the thing. I am standing by. Come on. Alright, it looks like we're going, so I'm gonna silence this, just in case you guys can hear it. Hello to whoever's here, which just seems to be White Tim right now. Sorry if I'm in a bit of a mood. I have a bit of technophobia, I have to say. So, it took me a while to work out how OBS works with this new YouTube thing now, but yeah, we should be good to go now. Oh, hey, Felix is here. Hi, Felix. Yeah, Sipo's in the other room. He's watching TV, getting ready for bed, I think. And more power to him. How's everyone doing? Good, hopefully. Yeah. I've got a bit of that anxious energy going on, you know? You know, when... I don't know what to call it. Let's have a refreshing can of Diet Coke. Been really getting through these. Yeah. How are you guys doing? What have you been spending your evening doing? So this stream, I was going to start it out talking about the holiday of Halloween, which I guess all us horror YouTubers are preparing for in our own ways. I mean, I have ideas, not all of them fully formed yet. We'll talk about that. Yeah, so we'll be talking about that. Maybe we can discuss some of the differences between Halloween where I grew up, the UK, and how it is over here, because there are some differences. I also wanted to talk to you about... oh, there's some more people in the chat. Hey, Daniel Hammond. Good to see you. I saw you coming off the show business stream, so I'm very glad to have you here. Sorry for poking in and advertising this shit show, whatever it is. Horror Emperor, excellent name. Hey Emily, it's Gabe. I'm just on a separate account. How are you? I'm pretty good considering. How are you? Oh wow, there's more people here than I expected. I'm perpetually surprised that people come to my channel at all, but you know, that's just the old paranoia. So yeah, what I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I kind of want to go into spoiler territory. I know it's, you know, not advised generally, because I don't know if enough people have seen this to talk about it spoiler-free, but it's quite an old thing that I've been watching. It's in the title there, so it's called The Stone Tape. And it's a British TV movie from 1972 that it's come up on a couple of horror countdowns over the years, and that's what inspired me a couple of years ago to eventually seek it out, and now I finally have. It's available on YouTube. It's an hour and a half long, like I said, made in 1972, and the aspect ratio is 4:3 because it was made for TV, and as far as I can tell, it's only available in glorious 360p because, you know, made back in the 70s for television. What are you going to expect? Thanks, Emily. Glad to be here. Oh, I'm glad to have you. Zachary says, did you get your tooth fixed? Kind of. It was tooth number 2, my molar, the one that's just before the wisdom tooth I already had extracted, and I had this one extracted too, so I don't know if you can see that, but I have a considerable gap over here. It bothers me less than I expected to have a tooth missing, probably because the one next to it is also missing. But yeah, the gap isn't as far forward as I thought it was, and the pain is so much better because, yeah, I didn't realize how much pain it was giving me. I have 2 teeth that need root canals, apparently. There's one more close to the front. This one had a cavity in it. It was more cavity than tooth, so it was susceptible to a lot of nerve pain, just pain from eating, temperatures, hot and cold, but now it's out. I feel like 90% better, so yeah, that's pretty good. Thank you for asking. Any movie that's over 30 years old, you don't have to give spoiler warning. Okay, well, I guess I'll freely discuss it then, and then, like I said, it's available on YouTube for you to see in all its 360p glory. Manhammer AR-15, also a good name. Have you seen Unsane 2018? I have. I actually did a review on it for Stalker Month, which I do every February. Yeah, can't get the words out today, but it's available on my channel that you can go watch if you'd like. Yeah, I also mentioned it in the Final Girls live stream over on my husband's channel. It's one of very few movies that actually freaks me out, because one of my deepest fears is being involuntarily committed and chemically restrained, so you can imagine that movie didn't sit very well with me, even though I know it's grossly inaccurate. It still gets you on a very visceral level. Only British movie I can think of is Ghostwatch. That's actually next on my list, because that's also been recommended to me, and that's also a movie made for TV, so yeah, that's also on the list. I'm going to see if I can find it streaming somewhere online, or maybe someone's uploaded it in their Google Docs and I can view it that way. That's a trick I learned recently. If you're looking for a movie, you type in the name of the movie and then Google Docs, and then if someone's uploaded it to their personal storage space, it might be available to you. So you can try that out. I've watched a couple movies that way. Cavities are the worst, but wisdom teeth removal is the worst. I don't know about that. I mean, I've had a wisdom tooth out, like I said. Actually, at the time it was infected and kind of broken, so my dentist, he tried to yank it out, but he couldn't get it all the way out, and because of that I was left with a half-extracted, infected wisdom tooth to take home, and I had antibiotics, but it was fucking agony for about a week. And then when I went for oral surgery and had it literally sliced out of my gum, the recovery after that was very smooth. Just a little light swashing with salt water, it was fine. But yeah, you don't want wisdom tooth problems. They are the worst, because you've got jaw pain radiating up in your skull. It's awful. Very true, Emily Thigpen says. I woke up during mine. Woke up during your what? I'm gonna have to scroll up for that. I watched Unsane because Emily reviewed it and loved it. Yeah, I don't know if I loved it, but it's a competent movie and kind of impressive the way they did it all on an iPhone. The one that's a generation before mine, even. So, yeah. It's good to watch at least once. Yeah. So, there's always a bit of guilt, I feel, coming on this channel and doing some kind of live stream, because I feel it's very lazy compared to what I would normally do, a structured, scripted, and produced movie review. So, I don't know. Coming on and doing this, it feels very lazy, but it's also, a chance to talk to you all in real time, so I appreciate that, and it gives me something to do of an evening. Anything I can do to distract me is a plus right now. Not to go into details, but I like to get out of my own head recently. Oh, during my wisdom tooth removal. Oh, okay, thanks for clearing that up. And hello yourself. Manhammer says, I had 2 wisdom teeth removed at the same time. I was eating 3 hours later. That's good news. I'm glad it wasn't too cumbersome for you. Unsane was pretty good, says Daniel. Just don't get why it had to be filmed on iPhone. I think just to prove they could do it, to be honest. Yeah, maybe someday in the future we'll have more to do on our phones. Already I think they're coming out with one that has 3 different cameras for different focal effects, or you know what I mean. There's one camera that's for regular old selfies. There's one which is what do they call it? God damn it, I can't remember. Help me out here. Long distance, wide screen. I don't know, something like that. Different cameras for different usages. It will bring your Instagram photo game up considerably, so that's why they've done that. But I think if movies are filmed on iPhones, in the near future, they might be able to do a better job. They might be able to fake different kinds of focal effects or that kind of thing. I don't fucking know. I can't talk this evening. Well, call CPLAZY. Now that's different. He puts a lot of editing and all sorts of shit into his live streams. I mean, you've seen them. They've got different fonts and thumbnails. He spends hours working on that stuff. Not like me. I just come on here like, hey, what up? At some random time on a Monday at 11:27 p.m. This is fucking lazy. This is fairly casual, I suppose you'd say. The new iPhone has 3 cameras. That's right. Regular, wide angle, telephoto. That's what I was trying to say. Wide angle. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Telephoto. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I'm sure it adds a lot. Now we'll be able to take movie quality selfies, lol. Yeah, I saw something on Reddit. Someone had taken a wide angle photo of a banana, which looked considerably bigger which is, you know, people are going to be sending excellent dick pics from now on, so we got that to look forward to. Hello, Emily. Hi, Angel. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm relieved to be talking to anyone at all, to be honest. I'm glad the stream went through. I had to do some weird stuff with OBS. Nothing wrong with casual. Well, you're sweet for saying that. I feel like it's still... I don't know. Where is the effort? Can anyone see it? I don't see it. Still riding the wave of anxious energy. I don't want to go into too much detail about that, but yeah. I don't know. I don't find much motivation to work on my videos lately. I think my script sucks, and I think my face when I'm editing sucks. I can't stand to look at myself. It's a whole bunch of neuroses getting in the way. But I have some plans for Halloween, which I'm going to talk about presently. Lol, dick pics, yep. The future, we're living in it. Okay, so one of the things I watched recently, and this is because, so every Halloween I have a review that is, you know, because of Halloween I like to dress up in costume. So I've been doing this for 4 years, coming on 5. The first year it was Coraline, and that was my very first review because my YouTube channel debuted on Halloween. Then the year after that it was Carrie, and so I was the other mother first, then I was Carrie, and my grandparents helped me out with, you know, dousing me in fake blood. That was cool. Then the year after that, it was the female Cenobite from Hellraiser, and after that it was Elvira. That was just last year. So I'm still not sure what to do for this year, because, I'm sorry, Zach, your message was held for review, I've sorted that. So I got to figure out what I'm doing this year. So far I have 2 tentative things I could go with. So I've watched Paranorman recently, and we'll discuss that. But I don't know if there's a character from Paranorman that I could dress as, unless it's a generic zombie. And my other option is Beetlejuice, like a sexy female Beetlejuice, or I could go to Spirit Halloween and get the full bald cap, green hair wig thing, who knows. So those are my 2 ideas so far, but if anyone has any ideas for, you know, iconic horror characters, ideally female, that I could dress as, and a film that goes along with it that I could review, that would be great. Well, you know, what do you guys dress as for Halloween? What have you done in the past? I'd like to hear about that. Yay, dick pics, everyone's nightmare. Pretty much. Sitting in front of a camera is effort. I suppose. It can be mentally taxing now and then. The effort of you getting in front of the camera is more than enough, in my opinion. I know I'd have a tough time doing it. Oh, you're very sweet, thank you. Same. Well, I appreciate that. I guess if you think I've put some effort in, then more power to you. I can't get out of my own head. I can't get out of my own head about, you know, being a lazy ass. The nun. Oh, the nun from the Conjuring cinematic universe, I suppose. Yeah, that would be a good idea, actually, yeah. So I suppose I would be covering the movie The Nun, and not the... I know she appears in The Conjuring 2, but I haven't even seen The Conjuring 1 yet, so I'll add that to my list. But yeah, that's a good idea. That's an intensive makeup job that I think nonetheless I could do. I've got some black and white makeup. I've got this white foundation here that never gets used. I only bought it because I'm pretty pale, and I use it to pale up my, you know, existing foundation when it gets to winter, because I've got the skin of the Milky Bar Kid. Or Carrie, which I've already done. Although I suppose I could review the remake of Carrie. There's been at least one, hasn't there? There's one with Chloe Grace Moretz, who is too pretty and likable to be Carrie, in my opinion, but I haven't seen the film yet, so I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Have you ever heard of the game American McGee's Alice? It's more of a horror version of Alice in Wonderland. She has an awesome costume. Yeah, I think I've heard of it, yeah. She's got kind of black hair, and she charges around this nightmare Wonderland attacking things, I think. I'm sure I've heard of it somewhere. A female version of Art the Clown would be sick. That would be interesting, yeah. That's a challenge. I'm going to write some of these down. Here, I've got my bullshit stream topics written down over here. Planning. Okay, so we got... What have we got? The Nun. Art the Clown. I just heard about Sid Haig, who unfortunately passed recently. That is a pity. And, yeah, I learned about him recently because I was complaining on Reddit, not complaining, I was saying on Reddit that clowns must be, you know, a different species to humans, have a different lifespan, because no one ever sees elderly clowns. And someone brought up Sid Haig's character, Captain Spaulding, I believe, so I found out about him that way. And yeah, now that he's died, maybe I could do some kind of tribute to him by watching the film. What are your favourite films of all time? Just cause, also love your channel. Thank you. Favourite films of all time? Well, if we're talking horror, John Carpenter's The Thing has to be up there. The Fly, Videodrome, anything body horror, really. That's my favourite subgenre. I also like 1408. That's one of my absolute favourites. I watch that all the time. I almost know it off by heart, I think. Coraline's a good one. And then there are some kind of bullshit, mediocre films that I watch a lot, like Jumping Jack Flash and Overboard and stuff like that. Yeah, so those are some of my all-time favourites. Oh, and fucking The Shawshank Redemption. That's just a absolute masterpiece, and no one can convince me otherwise. You can dress and review American Mary since you're on your way to becoming a Yank, lol. American Mary. Actually, I haven't covered that, but back when my Emily's Adventures in Horrorland was on a WordPress blog site, I did a review swap with a friend of mine once. I covered this meant for teenagers coming of age rom-com type film. It was called Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging. Very, very British, but I covered that for her blog, and she covered American Mary for mine, so technically it's been done for the, not the channel, but, you know, the whole brand that I have going on, so yeah, but I could cover it, yeah, might be interesting. Ghost World, Ghost World's not horror, is it? Unless I'm thinking of something else. That's the one with, oh, Steve's in it though, so that makes it a good film, regardless. Sadako, yeah, Sadako I could do. That's a good cosplay opportunity. I don't know how that would work with the hair though, that might get in the way of the lav mic, but I'll write it down, thank you. Sadako. So since you say Sadako, I guess that would be the original Ring and not the American remake, because I think she's called Samara in that one. But that's still not, thank you for that option. Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. Yes, that's a good idea. And it's still a very Halloween-y film, just like Paranorman is. So Sally from... She doesn't have a surname, does she? Sally from Nightmare Before Xmas. Just shorten that there. The Bride of Dracula from the Hammer Dracula series would be epic. I know you meant to say B there, but yeah, that would, I'd have to get a wig for that. I don't think I could get my hair to be that tall on its own. So yeah, Bride of Dracula. Thank you. I'm going to have to sit down with these later and decide which one I like the best, or I could put them all in a hat or something, because God knows CP's got enough hats that I could use. Just watched 1408 last week. Yay! Oh, good. Which version do you like the best? Because I like the director's cut. Grudge Girl. The Grudge. Have I reviewed that already? Yeah, I think so. Kayako, right? The woman who does the noise. Yeah, I think I've seen that. Again, there's the original version from Japan, and then there's the American remake. Yeah, the remake is the one I reviewed. What? No Die Hard? Classic. Yeah, so, yeah. Die Hard's okay. And I get in a lot of trouble for saying that, because, you know, everyone's like, what? It's a Christmas classic. It's the original, you know, action, spectacular, you know, over the top. I much prefer Con Air. I think Con Air's got a lot more character, and it's humorous. It's just completely over the top, and yet everyone's sort of taking their role totally fucking seriously. Like, especially John Malkovich. He's just so Malkovich in Con Air. I love it. I love it to death. Yeah. So Die Hard's okay. I found myself laughing at it more often than not, and, you know, I found myself just enraged by the ineptitude of the police, like I always do. But that's a real sore point for me, just police not knowing what the fuck they're doing, or, you know, being incompetent, or even corrupt in horror movies. I did a video essay about that on my Patreon, which, you know, if I want to have any content for this channel, I'll have to start putting my Patreon exclusive reviews from ages ago onto the channel proper. I've done it occasionally before. It feels like a cheat. I should be making more video essays, not pumping out old ones. Or The Corpse Bride. That's another favorite. When I was 14 or so, I loved the shit out of that film. I watched it about 200 times. I knew it off by heart. I watched it with the commentary track. I watched it with hard of hearing commentary, the kind of audio descriptors for blind people. I watched it just the music tracks. I took in all the special features. It was a bit of a problem, actually. It was getting to the point where I'd get up before school to watch it a couple times, and then, yeah. So I could do that. I wonder how I would do the eyes, though. A lot of makeup tutorials I see, they do the bride's eyes, a bunch of white paint, and then you close the eyes and you put dots here, which, if that was the case, I'd be doing the entire review with my eyes closed. It's an option. I just have to think carefully about how I would do it, but I'll write that down. Thank you so much. Corpse Bride. I don't know why I did that with like a East Anglican accent. Speaking of Carrie, says Horror Emperor, if they remade it, do you think Elizabeth Olsen would be a good choice to portray her? Elizabeth Olsen, she's been in, don't tell me, Ingrid Goes West, right? I think that's the last thing I saw her in. Maybe there's something else, I don't know. But she could be a good choice, yeah. Again, kind of attractive, she is. So I think Carrie has to be believably an outcast for it to work, which is my problem with Chloe Grace Moretz. So I don't know. Maybe she can, ugly herself up, like Charlize Theron did that for Monster quite successfully. It's a thing attractive actresses can do. They can ugly themselves up and win awards, so good for them. How brave. Morticia Addams. Yeah, that's an option. Morticia Addams. I wouldn't mind doing a couple of lighter, kind of for kids, animated or live action features for Halloween. It's a time for nostalgia. I'm sure many of us have had happy Halloweens as children, so I wouldn't mind going back and looking at some slightly spooky media. Any of the Addams Family films. Yeah, to be honest. I'm not looking forward to the new one. I think the animation looks kind of crap, and at least from the trailers I can't see there's any discernible plot. Now, the Addams Family has been, a TV show, and it's been a webcomic before that, and for those purposes it doesn't need to have a plot necessarily, but for a movie it kind of has to. And some have argued, like Lindsay Ellis, some have argued that, the Addams Family shouldn't have a plot, and that's why the first two live-action films involved some beastly, gold-digging villain coming in. Villainess, whatever. I guess I'll see it out of morbid curiosity, fittingly enough, but I'm not super hyped about it. If you've seen Martyrs, is it as hardcore as I heard it is? Yeah, it's pretty out there. I wouldn't call it a splatter movie, but there are some moments, when it gets quite extreme. And it's quite ideologically unsettling too. I'd recommend it. Just, I don't know. It depends how seriously you take it, I think. Sometimes it exceeds your ability to suspend your disbelief. I don't know. Give it a look. See if you think it's hardcore. It has Steve Buscemi, that's why. Yeah. I don't think Steve Buscemi has been in much that's horror. He's a werewolf. He voices a werewolf in Hotel Transylvania. He voices a character in Monster House, which is another one of these films, spooky media for kids. He's in something. It's not, I think it's Tales from the Dark Side. He's someone who has a mummy, and I don't know. He's an Egyptologist who's kind of evil, and he has a mummy in a sarcophagus. That's as much as I remember, but that's horror-ish. But I'll see him in anything. Love him. Dress up as Vampira. Yes, another one of these. Okay, Vampira. So Vampira, is she a horror host like Elvira, or does she have her own movies? I'm not quite sure about her. She's the one I learned the least about, of the tall, pale, dark-haired, gothy icons in this particular genre. Lily Munster from The Munsters. Another one of those. Yeah, she's one of those tall, gothy types. Can't speak today. Lily Munster. I saw a couple episodes of the TV show, and I liked it enough. I just never got the chance to see more. Elizabeth Olsen is Scarlet Witch from Avengers. Oh, okay. I might have known her from that, yeah. Have you ever seen or read the book The Halloween Tree? I haven't. That's Ray Bradbury, isn't it? I like some of his fiction, yeah. Yeah, so I'll get on that. He adapted the screenplay for the movie, didn't he? I heard about that. He got an award for it. Have you seen It Chapter 2 yet? I have, and honestly fairly enjoyed it. Found it more intriguing than the first one. Yes, I've seen it. I've been trying to make up my mind whether or not to do a movie about it, because I want to talk about some of the weird LGBT themes they worked into it, but yeah. Aside from that, I liked it. I thought the adults were perfectly cast. They did almost as well as the child actors, and the story was pretty damn good. They, I don't know, they worked some comedy in there. Bill Hader was marvelous. Jessica Chastain was marvelous, and I fancy her a bit too, I'll be honest. Oh, don't make me pick between her and Steve. I can't do it. Wednesday Addams or Regine from Fright Night 2. I haven't seen Fright Night 1. The same guy who made Child's Play, I believe. Tom Holland, not to be confused with the Spider-Man actor Tom Holland. Pamela Voorhees, CP would love that. See, I'd like to, but I was discussing it with him the other day. The problem is, I've already reviewed the first Friday the 13th, and he's in it, fittingly enough. So I suppose the next logical thing would be to review the second movie, but she barely appears in that one. She's just kind of a decapitated head in the fridge. So I don't know if it would feel entirely earned, you know, to dress up as her, much as I would like to. Maybe I can find some other excuse to do that. Okay, so we got Wednesday Addams. Wednesday. Sometimes I have to spell stuff out, you know, in a stupid fashion to be able to write it. Dressed up as Steve Buscemi. Oh, that would be good. Oh, how would I do that? I'd have to get that kind of bug-eyed look somehow. Oh, what a challenge. Okay, hi Eric. She was a horror host and she was in the movie Plan 9 from Outer Space. The Misfits wrote the song Vampira about her, and Elvira lifted some of her gimmick from Vampira. Makes sense, yeah. There's a couple of videos out there about the evolution of, you know, they go Lily Munster, Vampira, what's her face, Morticia Addams. There's a couple others leading up to Elvira, and it's kind of like an evolution of, you know, the tall goth woman, Lamau, you know, with the tight-fitting dress and the whatever it is. I apologize if I'm talking a little faster than usual. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited now. I'm wondering. I've got so many options open to me now. What I'm going to do for Halloween. The Nun. That's. I'm sure it's been done before, but I'd like to have a crack at that costume just once. So if it doesn't happen this year, I'll make sure to work it in next year. I didn't even hate the movie so much. I mean, I haven't seen the other Conjuring films, but I feel like The Nun works as a standalone film just fine. And I didn't hate it. It did some things right. It did some things kind of terribly wrong, but I don't know. I could get into that later if we have time. Righty dokie, so I think I have my list now. If you can think of any more, then do feel free to let me know. But yeah, what have we got? The Nun, Art the Clown, the sexy female version, I guess. Sadako from The Ring, Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas, Bride of Dracula with the big wig. I still have my Elvira wig. Maybe I can... Does she have black hair with white stripes or white hair with black stripes? I think it's... I'll have to look into that. Norma Bates. Ooh. Like the withered skeleton mummy Norma Bates. It's funny you mention that because I've just watched Psycho 2. I'd like to discuss that with you in a few minutes. Okay, so Sally, Nightmare Before Christmas, Bride of Dracula, Corpse Bride, which, again, is going to be a challenge costume-wise, but a welcome one. Morticia Addams, Vampira, Lily Munster, who all cut a similar figure, and Wednesday, also from the Addams family. So, yeah, those are my options. I'm looking forward to going through those and seeing what is happening. Oh my god, I look so fat today. I feel sad looking at myself, I'll be honest. I thoroughly enjoyed The Nun. Yes. Well, good, I'm glad. I'm glad someone got some joy out of it, to be honest. Just go as a female version of Pennywise. That's another option, and I'm sure there's no shortage of Pennywise costumes. Did I tell you guys about the Spirit Halloween store that I found recently? Yes, the withered one. Well, of course. I don't know if we actually see a picture of Norma as herself when she was alive, as it were. And as we find out in Psycho 2, Norman does have another mother, so there's that option, but no one really talks about her. The Nun is pretty terrifying in Conjuring 2. Yeah, that's where she got her origins, right? Where are we? La Llorona was decent. That's not what I heard. I've heard some mixed reviews, to say the least, but I'll give anything a chance. Yeah, she's a similar-looking figure, right? There's this trend recently of, black and white figures with yellow, evil eyes. I think the Babadook qualifies. There's a Nun, obviously. There's a couple of them. I can't think of their names off the top of my head, but there's a couple of them. Yeah, but I'm open to seeing that. Righty dokie. So, I'll add La Llorona to the list. My Spanish accent is terrible. La Llorona. Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much for... got a bubble in my throat. Thank you for your suggestions. I got notifications. What are these? Recommended. No, go away. Okay, so let's see what we have on the itinerary here. I could talk about recently watched films first. I could talk about the Stone Tape while it's still fresh in my mind. Or I could talk... let's talk about Halloween first, because that's on the horizon, and now I get to think about what costume I'm going to wear. I'd like to talk about Halloween some more. Another character is Tiffany from Bride of Chucky. Oh, wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. I might add that to the list, because someone's asked me to review Child's Play. That's the next one I've been requested to review. It's one of my patrons. So I'll probably be doing that before my Halloween in-costume review. So Bride of Chucky could be a nice follow-up to that, although I'd be missing Child's Play 2 and 3, which are in between, but fuck it, I'll ignore them if you don't mind. If, my audience at large doesn't mind. Yeah, Tiffany from Bride of Chucky. There we go. Sorry, didn't mean to put some dead air in there. Oh, chat's kicking off a bit. I've got to catch up a little bit. In Psycho 4, Olivia Hussey? Olivia Hussey portrays Norma. You could possibly try that if the withered one doesn't work out. Well, we'll see what I can do. I have, I don't have a lot of special effects makeup, but I have some liquid latex over here. It's, I don't think it's dried up yet. It's almost full. I had a bigger one back home, but I had to leave it when I came to America because it was heavy and I could only bring so much in my suitcase. So here's what I have. And I've got a little bit of poster paint, acrylic paint, normal looking makeup. I can work something out. I heard La Llorona. See, I've learned some French, and even my French accent is terrible, but I'm doing it with a French accent, I think. I need to watch Coco some more. I discovered that a few days ago, and I've watched it about 4 times because I love it so much. It's a much underrated Pixar film, which is probably why it's available on Netflix, because they wouldn't show any of the good ones, because I believe Disney is making their own streaming channel, so there's that. Fucking Netflix. But yeah, I've watched that about 4 times, and I really recommend it. And it's got me really interested in the Mexican culture and the language, and I did a thing where I watched it and I had the subtitles on. I wrote down every Spanish word I didn't understand and I looked it up. And some of them I thought I could guess with common sense, but it turned out to be something completely different. So yeah, there was some benefit to doing that. But yeah, absolutely stunning film. Looks brilliant. It has a great story. It's got twists and turns, a bit of mystery, a bit of music. The music is fantastic. I recommend it. It's not horror, although it's got some Day of the Dead stuff going on. I've wondered if I could cover it on my channel just for the love of the movie, and also I could play around with Dia de los Muertos makeup, and also Walmart has a lot of Dia de los Muertos, merchant Halloween stuff in their Halloween aisle, seasonal, there's a lot of that going on, skulls with paint all over them, and, flower, all the business. So that was a thought I had before I had any other thoughts at all. Your Spanish accent is better than mine, and I'm Mexican/Spanish. Well, I don't believe you, but thanks anyway. No, I mean, I don't believe my Spanish accent is better than yours. I believe you're Mexican Spanish if you say you are. Don't get me wrong. What am I doing? I heard La Llorona La Llorona was horrendous, but just watched it earlier, and it was decent enough. Pretty standard, but not horrible. That's good. That's good. I'm glad it's not horrible. It is kind of hard to roll your R's. Sipo can do it. My husband, CP, he can roll his R's. He can do that trilling sound. And I try, but I cannot do it. I can't do that. I can't. It sounds terrible when I do it. Yeah, unfortunately. So when I'm doing a French accent and I have to roll my R's, I kind of have to fake it, like Haïta or something like that. It's like, it's not rolling at all. It's just kind of a throat noise. Do you have a Twitter or Instagram account? I'm working on a tribute sketch for quite a few female YouTubers and I'd like to include you. Oh, well, thank you very much. Yes, I am on Instagram. My Instagram name is Embo in Horrorland, and there's dashes in between the what are they called? They're like M dashes, but they sit lower down. I don't know what you call it. I'll just write it down. That's easier. Embo in Horrorland. There we go. That's my handle. But thank you very much. Yeah, go right ahead. I'm going as 78 Myers this year, from the original movie, I guess. That's pretty cool. Going where? What are your plans? Are you going? Do you have kids that you're taking trick-or-treating, or is there an event? There's some kind of event close to where we live, but I think it's mainly geared towards children and people with children, so... Unfortunately, I don't know any kiddies that are young enough that I could tag along, so... I mean, my sister's back home. I have two sisters who are young children. One of them's 6 and the other's coming up on 3. But I haven't seen them in ages. I've been here almost 2 years, so there's that. But hopefully they have a very happy Halloween. You could dress up as Emily Rose from The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I could. She mainly just wears a long nightie from the clips I've seen, right? That's I'm not very good at that contortion stuff like Jennifer Carpenter seems to be, but it's an idea. Yeah, I'll write it down. Emily Rose. This list is getting on a bit. Okay, those are called sugar skulls. Yes, thank you. I forgot. Speaking of the holidays, have you seen the trailer for Blumhouse's Black Christmas? I did, but I felt they spoiled the twist. Yeah, this is the second remake of this film now, and I'm not looking forward to it. It looks abysmal, frankly. I have a feeling I'm going to be dragged along to see it anyway, because morbid curiosity, we just have to tear this movie to pieces, and we have to see it to do that, but I'm not looking forward to it. I think it looks terrible, and why are you remaking it again? There's no need for it, but anyway. Yeah, but I hope you enjoy it anyway. I don't have a problem with people enjoying films that I think are objectively terrible. Like, I'm glad you can get something out of it that I can't, honestly, but I'm not excited to see it. I'm putting that out there. I'm doing Halloween on a budget. Minions pajama pants, Minions t-shirt, black boots, and lab goggles with my hair pushed back in a bun. So, are you gonna be a Minion? Or someone just in Minion attire? Is there a character that's Minion-esque that I'm not aware of? But yeah, that sounds fun. You want to be comfy, don't you? Because if you're going out trick-or-treating, then it's cold weather. That's not the time to be going around in skimpy, sexy witch costumes or sexy Ebola virus costumes or whatever it is they have nowadays. I don't know. If you can be going out and packing some thermal underwear under your costume, that's probably the best option. Bonjour, I'm late. Ah, bonjour, Dice. Ça va? Underscores, that's it. I cannot words today. I apologize sincerely. Hi, Dice. Yep. Yeah, everyone's getting to, chatting in the comments. So what did you think of Psycho 2? Right. Okay, so I've debated doing a video about this for my Patreon. And it's like I said, I'm finding it very hard to be productive lately, so I thought, why not come on here and just give you my thoughts, because it's I'd rather do that than produce nothing at all, so here we are. So I quite like the original Psycho. I like it a lot. Even for something that's had the ending spoiled since before I was old enough to want to watch it, like, everyone knows the twist with Norman and his mother, and I think the less you know about the twist going in, the better, but even for a film that's been perpetually spoiled over the years, it's such a good film. The way it leads up to it, the tension it builds, the uncertainty surrounding Norman, you know, his whole character. Is he just an innocent bystander to his much more evil mother, or is he more involved? It's kind of bloody fascinating, and it's Hitchcock doing what he does best. He is the master of suspense, after all. And by the way, if anyone has found on YouTube, there's his, I wouldn't call it a trailer so much, it's kind of a promo video he did, where he walks around the Bates mansion, and whatever you call that house. It looks mansionly to me. You Americans, you like your great big houses in film. So he walks around and he goes, now this has great significance because... And he won't tell you. He'll just decide, well, let's keep moving on. And you're like, you can't leave me hanging like that, bro. He's doing it on purpose. He's winding me up by wanting to... He's making me want to know what happens, even in this video where he does a tour of the house, and he doesn't spoil anything. He does it on purpose. He's a bit of a bastard that way. So I liked the film well enough, and I wanted to know what they were going to do with Psycho 2. So, first thing, it's not in black and white. It's an 80s film, and it's set about 14 years after the original, and they go with that. They make it a colour film. And I wonder if they did that to kind of distance themselves from the original, because I believe Alfred Hitchcock was not involved with this one, and they didn't want to mislead the audience that way, so they made it in colour. I have to believe this was a deliberate choice, because I've seen the beginnings of Psycho 3, and it uses clips from Psycho 2, but when it uses those clips from Psycho 2, it's in black and white. It's a black and white flashback slash callback, you know, thing to the second movie. So they could have made it black and white again if they wanted to, but they didn't. So I have to assume it was done deliberately. And here we have Norman again, and I mean, I have to love fucking Anthony Perkins. He really makes the character his own. I have a feeling in the book, I haven't read it, but I'm led to believe in the book he's more of an overweight, sort of middle-aged man who's not at all attractive or charming. So for some reason they got Anthony Perkins in to be this young, boyish, good-looking figure who's, you know, very charming and kind of, you know, you wouldn't suspect much of him. I think that's why they did that. So here it's a few years on, and he seems to be much recovered, and you know, from the start, the town seems to have accepted him. Like, he gets a job straight away. He moves back into his hotel, no problem. A lot of people are like, okay, he's what's the word? He's served his debt to society. He's paid his debt to society. So that was interesting. And a lot of the film deals with kind of that. And he makes a new friend in this girl who's, I think her name's Mary Samuels, which is very similar to the pseudonym that what's-her-face uses in the first film. When she's on the run, she uses the name Marie Samuels, which is very, very similar. So yeah, I have to say the film had me intrigued, and it did have some interesting twists and turns. However, I do wonder about the very, very ending. It's kind of like a soap opera type twist. And if you've watched it, you know what I'm talking about. Norman's mother may not have been his mother, and that's what this woman says. And so that does seem like a very soap opera kind of twist. But then what happens after that is where it gets interesting. And I kind of like the way it went, because it leaves it up to interpretation a little bit. Like, is Norman not cured then? Did he do that because he didn't believe this woman, or he just can't deal with his mothers while they're alive? He just needs them to be dead so that they won't abandon him? Is that what it is? It's open to interpretation, and I like it, and I'd watch the movie again. I like it a lot. Okie dokie. Emily rolling her R's. Oh, I've scrolled down. Hold on. Where am I? I've lost my place. Oh, okay. White Tim says, I got a hat and going as CP. That's funny. Oh, okay, I know where we're up to now. Emily rolling her R's sounds like she has a lookie. Yeah, I just can't do it. Maybe if I practiced I could, but ain't nobody got time for that. Daniel Hammond says, no kids, lol. Probably taking my cousins to a festival downtown, and then later in the evening going to a haunted house. Ooh, that sounds good. Back when I lived in the UK, I was in Lincolnshire, I don't feel like that's revealing too much, but back where I lived, there was this place that was a car journey away, so I could never make it by myself, but it was called the Cinema in the Woods, cinema with a K. And every Halloween they would do a showing of some old film, and because you're in the middle of the woods, it's kind of a spooky setting. One year they were doing The Exorcist, and I wanted to go, but I never managed it. The Exorcism of Emily Rose, Ghost Yoga. Yeah, she... Oh, I have seen some stuff. Okay, so The Exorcism of Emily Rose. It appears on one of those horror movie moments countdowns. I think this was the Bravo edition, and some of it's available on YouTube, if not all of it. And Jennifer Carpenter does all her own stunts. She really is that kind of bendy, and I think this came about kind of by accident. She saw that they were making a dummy that they were going to bend into all these positions, and she was like, oh, I think I can do that. And she ended up saving them a bunch of money, and her performance is just... I think she had the camera crew running scared. It was just so believable and so intense. So, yeah, oh god, to be that... to have that power, to be that good of an actress, I fucking love that. Last year I was Myers from Halloween 6 and had tons of people asking for pics with me and complimenting my costume. Such an amazing experience. That sounds great. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad you had a good time. One year I went out, this was the year I covered Hellraiser, and I had my female Cenobite costume on, and I just went out for Halloween with one of my friends. And one person stopped me on the street and was very appreciative. He said he had a tattoo of that character on his back, and he showed it me, and it was all good. He said something to wit, oh, she is kind of, you know, good looking, isn't she? All that leather and shit. And I was like, okay. I got a hat and going to CP. I've read that already, but very funny. Do it. Hi, Emily. Hi, Dice. At Daniel Hammond, it's funny you're going as different versions. And why not? That's part of the joy of the franchise. Like, oh, what's he going to look like this time? New collectible, new merch, new stuff that I can cosplay as. OM, have CP take you to Sleepy Hollow. You can do the cemetery tour and the haunted house. It's fun. Yeah, I don't know how busy we'll be this coming month, but it's an option. If it's nearby, I might suggest it. Thank you. Haha, thank God for Trick or Treat Studios. Yeah, indeed. Speaking of costumes, says Dice, I must admit I have quite a few options ready to go. Ash Williams, Herbert West. Ooh, Herbert West. That's a good one. Sam Hain, Mike Schmidt, Invisible Man, etc. I'm not sure I'm familiar with Sam Hain or Mike Schmidt. Mike Schmidt rings a bit of a bell, but who would those be? Ash Williams would be an awesome costume, yeah. I've wanted to talk about Ash Williams for a little while. He's seemingly one of very, very few horror icons that isn't actually, you know, a bad guy or an evil character. He's the good guy, albeit kind of... I mean, the only other person I can think of off the top of my head is Cherry from that one movie I forget the name of, but she's oddly similar in that she has a gun for a leg. They both have, you know, appendages lopped off that they substitute with different weapons, improvised weapons. It's quite strange. Yeah, but she's also kind of iconic, I guess. People cosplay as her all the time anyway. Ash, read that already. Anthony Perkins is the only true Norman I'm willing to accept, honestly. Yeah, I guess there's been a TV adaptation of Psycho, or, you know, Young Norman Bates, something like that, which I haven't seen, but I'm sure it's fine. Same with that Hannibal TV series. I haven't caught that, but I'm led to believe that's pretty good. I'm going as Jason Voorhees from Friday Part 4 this year. What does he look like then? This is post-Baghead Jason. Does he have anything special going on with his attire, his mask? I'm most familiar with Friday 1 and 6, I'll be honest. My voice is going. I'm just gonna... Refreshing. Agreed, I want to make a proper chainsaw hand, of course. Okay, not too proper. You don't want to take someone's eye out. Does anyone else think a chainsaw would be an awful improvised weapon? I mean, it would get clogged up very quickly if you were trying to tear through different people. there's a Headless Horseman Festival in Indiana. Part of it is a 12-acre corn maze where you have to escape from the Headless Horseman who is riding in the maze. That sounds fucking awesome, actually. That sounds like... you guys don't have the... In the UK, we have the... like the London Dungeons, where you go down and there are actors sort of talking... They're taking you on a tour, but they're acting. They're being 18th century judges condemning you as a witch. They're showing you their, evil lairs. They're, it's the history of whatever major city it happens to be. There's one in Edinburgh too. So there's the London Dungeons, the Edinburgh Dungeons. It's kind of an immersive experience with different actors, and it's pretty fucking good. There's no chasing because there's a whole bunch of you, but it's a nice little tour, and you emerge in the gift shop afterwards, and I'd recommend it if you happen to be in London or Edinburgh or wherever else they're having one. Okay. Don't forget a proper broomstick dice. Haha. Yes. Yes, I do. You all are chatting. That's nice. I actually just posted a vid on my YouTube channel in which I posted a clip from the original Psycho, says Night of the Films. I did include a few additions and trimmed the fat a bit. I'd love it if you check it out. Yeah, I think I will, as soon as I'm done doing this, and everyone else, feel free to go to his channel and take a look. Absolutely. Eric retracted a message. What did you write? What did you write? Bonjour indeed. So, at full proxy sessions, yep, you guys are all talking. It is not a real broomstick, it only shoots suction cup arrows. Boomstick! I've been reading it wrong. Fuck. God damn it. Like Ash would have a broomstick. I was surprised to really like Annabelle Comes Home. It was creepy and fun. That's an offshoot of the Conjuring series, isn't it? That's the creepy doll. I haven't seen that yet either, but one day I will. Part of me keeps meaning to, because I've been unproductive for so long, I think, alright, you might as well, while you're not doing stuff for YouTube, because you're a fucking lazy ass, you might as well come back and go, hey, surprise everybody, I am now up to date on the big three. I've watched all the Halloweens, all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, all the Jason films. Did I say that already? Halloween? Yeah, so I've watched all that, and now I can give my objective opinion on any of those. That would be my gift to you. But another part of me is like, no, you should save it. You should save it for when you review them individually, because part of the appeal of this channel, supposedly, is that I'm perpetually losing my horror virginity to whatever it is. I don't know. What would you guys like to see? Would you like me to be more informed and up to date on stuff like this, or do you want to see more of my genuine first reactions? Do you want me to approach each film not knowing what happens afterwards? I don't fucking know. But I come to you for this. I want you to tell me what you prefer. Get some kind of consensus. I love Jennifer Carpenter. She's awesome. Oh yeah, definitely. Heard a noise. Nobody there. Planet Terror, Emily. That's it. Thank you. Sam Hain is the little demon guy from Trick or Treat, and Mike Schmidt is the first security guard that... Oh! Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, easy character to cosplay because they don't look specific. Yeah, I could just be Purple Guy. That's fairly straightforward. Purple paint. Or one of the animatronics. That seems more elaborate and difficult, but it's an option. I could be Foxy the Pirate, eye patch, fox ears. I'm sure there's plenty of that sort of stuff for sale on eBay. I'd be like, I've ordered a tail offline, but what's this weird thing on the end? How do I attach it? That's a dirty joke, by the way. How come none of the horror channels have talked about Steven Spielberg's Duel yet? I consider the Peterbilt semi-truck a horror icon of its own. Well, if no one else has talked about it, then maybe I can be the first. If you request it, it might take a while to get seen, or I could just pretend it's a look what I found and cover it that way. Steven Spielberg's... Is it a horror? But I'll take a look at it and see what I think. What's it called? Duel. I don't even know what my accent is anymore. Same reason they haven't done The Car. Both are great movies. Okay. My London Bridge is falling down. I don't know what that means. I prefer genuine reactions. Mark agrees. I like your current theme, honest first impression. YouTube just sent me here. Okay. What's the most bizarre Halloween costume you've come across? Bizarre. I saw someone dressed as Pyramid Head once. That was fun. Someone dressed as Patrick Bateman. I got a picture taken with him. That was also fun. He kind of threw the axe at my neck, and I was recoiling from it. But in terms of bizarre, nothing really comes to mind. If I can think of anything, I'll get back to you. I speak primarily from my own experience, seeing as I'm rather similar to you in that I do reviews of movies I've watched for the first time. I think it's more fun than crunching on a whole bunch. I see. We seem to be in agreement. I'll just carry on as I am. I don't know. I feel a bit bad coming onto live streams with other people. Like the Final Girls live stream, I feel like I'm the least qualified there because I haven't seen so much. But if that's my gimmick, then that's my gimmick, I guess. Made for TV horror, M. Ah, okay. At Tony Hammond, I've seen that. It's terrifying. Oh, I'll bet. There are some films that aren't strictly horror, but they have the most terrifying scenes in them, like Fire in the Sky. That's not really a horror movie. But that one scene, nightmare fuel, absolutely. So I could do like a countdown list of that, because I do like doing countdown videos. It's more editing afterwards, but you know, it's fun to do. I like countdowns in all their forms. I like watching them on TV. I like making them. I like everything about them. Duel is, I'm going to say duel because otherwise it sounds like I'm saying jewel, like a diamond. Duel is Steven Spielberg's first directed movie and is about a lone man driving across the desert of California to get home to his family when a deranged semi-truck driver / truck starts stalking him. Ooh, that's an interesting premise. It's kind of simple, but it leaves a lot to the imagination, so yeah. Yeah, I'll look into it, thank you. I'll put it on this ever-increasing list that I never tackle. No, I'll have a look. Sincerely, I'll see what's up. But again, says Dice, that's just me. 'Tis your channel and your content. I'll have to see. I'll think about it, because. Oh, Dice has more to say. Ooh, trust me. I fully believed I was the one individual who'd seen the least horror movies in the group. Oh, good. I'm glad we're not alone on this. We can be uninformed together. Showgirls is absolutely terrifying. Yeah, that one sex scene, is that how straight people have sex? Jesus Christ. I came across an Optimus Prime corset while costume shopping. That was a huge nope moment. How does that work? Did it have a load of gears all over it? Was it a steampunk Optimus Prime type thingy? I can't imagine, because I don't know what Optimus Prime looks like. Is he kind of cinched in at the waist? I mean, he's a Transformer. I guess he doesn't need to have a defined waist, but I don't really know. Can you do an American accent completely without a hint of your accent? I mean, I can try. When I do an American accent, I sound awfully stilted, and I sound like Patrick Bateman trying not to sound drunk, even though he's completely blasted. Like, I've done creepypasta readings in the past where the character who's telling you the story is American, so I've tried to do that American accent. And it sounds like this, and I was doing something I wasn't remotely qualified for, but I gave him a call and I arranged an interview. Like, it sounds like a Canadian android about to commit suicide. It's awful. And I guess I can do a stereotypical Texas accent, but everyone can do that, and it's not very convincing, I'm sure. Yeah, so anyone else got any Halloween traditions that they always do, that they're looking forward to? I don't think I've had a proper Halloween holiday experience since I've come to the States, because me and Sipo, we don't get out of the house very much, and I don't have any younger relatives that I could tag along to, you know, to go to Halloween events or trick-or-treating. I did it a lot as a teenager, and I don't know, I feel like it's different over in the States. Your costumes don't have to be, strictly speaking, spooky. I've seen people go out dressed as Smurfs and, you know, clever costumes like, oh, I'm the Oxford English Dictionary, or I'm the paperclip from Microsoft Word, you know. You can be whatever you want. It's more open in a way, but it's not quite as scary. I don't know why that is. Dark Night of the Scarecrow is a great revenge made-for-TV horror movie. I'm looking forward to talking about the Stone Tape, this made-for-TV thing. I have a lot to say about it. To be honest, I don't mind either path you want to take with your channel. I'm just enjoying the haunted joyride. Well, thank you. Thank you. I hope so. I hope anyone who watches me is kind of enjoying it. Are you planning on reading and recording more creepypastas? I haven't made immediate plans, but if you have a particular one that you like and you want to request it, then absolutely go ahead. Someone requested for me to do a Stephen King short story, and I had a crack at it, but my voice, I just wasn't feeling it that day. My voice was cracking. There were a lot of characters I had to find different voices for, so it never got uploaded, but I could get into it again. Yeah, absolutely. I've been thinking about doing No End House, but then Rob Gavigan, previously known as Rob Dyke, he did a reading of it that's way better than what I could do. And since the protagonist of that horror story is male and he's male, it seems to fit better. When I try to do a male voice, people say that I sound retarded, so I try not to do it very much, but, you know, I kind of sound like Braggart when I try to be a dude. Halloween traditions and activities. Yes. Oh, Freaky Girls Live. Hey. Sorry, I have a habit of calling people by their channel names. I'm sorry about that. Laura. Hi, Laura. Eric says, I carve pumpkins with my son every year. I also like to make homemade pumpkin pies. Ah, yes, the pumpkin scourge. That's another thing about the States. You can get pumpkin spice everything. I went on a trip to Stop and Shop by myself. I found pumpkin spice coffee, pumpkin spice pasta sauce, pancake mix, fucking, I don't know, bathroom spray, everything. You've got pumpkin spice everything. You have pumpkin spice flavored insulin. Nobody can afford it, but, you know, you've got the option. And I've dabbled in pumpkin pastries. I've made some pumpkin bars, which are basically like pumpkin flavored cake with, I've said pumpkin so many times it's losing all meaning, but I've dabbled in, you know, making some seasonal delights in the kitchen, and it's kind of fun. I like the taste. I don't see why it shouldn't, you know, move over to the UK. We should have some fun with it. But pumpkin carving, yeah, that's always fun. One tip I found online was that you should, if you're carving out the pumpkin, you should actually cut from the bottom and then carve up the way, because the pumpkin is less likely to collapse on itself as it gets old. But as a tip, you can have that for free. Mark says, I scare the bejesus out of my nieces and nephews. It's a family tradition. Just a Halloween one or year round? Just, that's something you do. I used to throw an adults-only Halloween party. They were fun. I would fucking love to do that. I'd love to have an adult-themed Halloween party and force all my friends to come in costume and make seasonal party food and shots and stuff. I'd love to do that, but fucking, even back in the UK, no one would come to see me. I was always the one to hop on the train and see them. It's just so hard to get all my friends together in one place. And I'm in the US, I'm even further from home, and I've got friends in America, I'm pleased to say, but America's even bigger. Like, it's much, much harder to have social gatherings. But yeah, that's something I'd love to do. If any of you want to turn up, I'm sure I can figure something out. 99% of Halloween costumes in Australia are just Leg Avenue costumes. What's Leg Avenue? Never heard of that, but okay. Have you seen Mothman Prophecies? No, I haven't. Sounds pretty juicy. You're looking forward to Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, Emily? I kind of am. I'm looking forward to it. There's only one tiny bugbear I have with it, and this is something that's, you know, it's... I see it in a lot of American films, and it's not just relegated to scary films, it's every film. There's an outcast character. He's quite misunderstood. And there's always a scene where the bullies throw stuff at him and they call him freak. That's the word they keep using. It's always, you're a freak, freak! Does that happen in real life? It's such a fucking cliche at this point. And I know it's going to happen in Joker too. And I can tell when it's about to happen in a movie. I can predict the moment it's going to happen. It's just such a thing. It's always freak. Like, there are other words. I live for rare, inventive insults. Not just freak. You can do better than that. But apart from that, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it would be infinitely more interesting if this Joker film was just about a guy who wanted to be a clown and entertain the world, and then it went south from there, if it was not at all connected to the DC universe. But, you know, I'm still up for it. I'm, you know, keeping my hopes up. Okay, I've got to scroll back up a bit. Got to scroll back up a little bit. I bought unfortunate fortune cookies today. I just saw those. I went into Bed Bath & Beyond and I saw them there. Are they any good? What kind of fortunes did you get? Yeah, I posted about them on my Instagram. Go to a pumpkin patch, carve a pumpkin, eat candied apples, make Halloween cookies. Halloween cookies, that's a new one on me. Collect colourful leaves, that's just a fall thing, delightful. Play Halloween music, yeah. Let's do the mash, the monster mash. Go to haunted locations. Those all sound fantastic. We don't have pumpkin patches in the UK though. I thought it was just a fictional thing made up for, you know, those Peanuts Halloween made for TV specials. I don't know, like the Grand Pumpkin. I thought pumpkin patches were just kind of fictional, but turns out they exist. Yeah, candied apples they're a thing we have in the UK. Candy part's always great, but the apple, it's usually powdery and disappointing, so I tend not to eat them very much. We love your channel, Emily. Oh, thank you. You're too sweet, and your videos are top-notch. Yeah, if only I made them ever. Laura says, I made pumpkin bread last night, and it's worth it for the smell alone. Yeah, I've got some pumpkin puree in at the moment. I'm going to make some soup. Got some soup mix. I'm going to make some more soup. It's pretty good. It's only 100 calories a serving, and I could do with eating a bit less, let's be honest. No End House is a classic indeed. Loads of people have narrated it, but that's never stopped me. Oh, you've done it? Oh, that's brilliant. I'll have to listen to that. Listen to Dice's No End House video. Okie dokie. Pumpkin pudding, as the Brits call it. Brits with 2 T's. I also recommend, says Dice, that you sprinkle some cinnamon on the inside of the top of your jack-o'-lantern. That way, should you use a candle, it'll smell like a pumpkin pie. That's a great idea. And I found out you can get pumpkin spice mix. You know, cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, all those spices married together. You can get that from Dollar Tree. Just the little tiny spice container, which is pretty good. I've got some twice already. Pumpkin dog biscuits are kind of tough to chew. Dog biscuits? Pumpkin biscuits for dogs? Interesting. I think the best adult costume I've seen was at Theatre Bazaar a few years ago. Someone dressed up as the lady from A Clockwork Orange with the nipples cut out. That's pretty good. And I'll bet she would have been pleased whenever anyone got that, because I don't know, she's not the most memorable character from that movie, but I feel like you'd recognize it if you knew it. Dice, that's a pro tip. It'll also keep ants away. Yeah. Good old ant infestations. Okay. Daniel says, I know, right? Call them pieces of shit instead. Lol, Freak is so unoriginal. Yeah. I can't think of any rare insults off the top of my head. I don't know. I'll have to come up with some and then just make a video with no context listing them. Oh, and if there's a Rocky Horror Picture Show experience or midnight movie showing, etc., you're likely to have fun. They pop up more around October. If CP dresses up, just don't show me pics. I have been to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show in theatres once, back in the UK. I don't know if this will mean anything, but Janet was played by the actress who played Tracy Beaker in, you know, on TV. That was her, and I got to see her in her knickers. That was a strange experience. It's a lot more fun seeing it in the theatre because there's call and response stuff going on. You can sing along to the songs, and people do go dressed up. I got dressed up. I went as Columbia in her pajamas with the Mickey Mouse ears. And my stepdad has also gone, and I've seen pictures of that. That was fun. He went the whole hog, lingerie, all that. I got to scroll back up again because you guys are chatting up a storm. Leg Avenue are bedroom-appropriate clothing that cover a multitude of themes. Ah, I see. So you can be sexy Michael Myers or something? There you go, you're welcome. I've got to take a sip of this again. Ooh, how long have I been going for? I think I started a little past 11, I think. Yeah, I think I've been doing about an hour. The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Yeah, that's the one. Oh, so many American holiday specials I missed. Lol, I haven't narrated No End House just yet, but it's definitely on my list to do sometime, maybe soon. Alright, well let me know when you do it, and I'll rush over and I'll give it all my likes from all my different channels. I should do something for Braggart's channel. It's been quite a while, and those videos are usually shorter. All it requires is getting into costume, I guess. Emily says, our closest family friends make their own haunted house in the back room of their dance studio. They go all out, fog machines, creepy sound effects, monsters jumping out of hidden corners, the works. That sounds fucking brilliant. That's brilliant that you have that to, to attend. And I want to tell you something. When I was growing up, I didn't grow up with my biological dad, but I saw him during the holidays. The major breaks between school, like in summer, around Christmas, and then in spring, there would be like a 2-week holiday. So I'd see him about 3 times a year. So I grew up with my mother and stepdad, and my stepdad was super duper into Halloween. And every year he'd try and top himself in terms of decorating the outside of the house, or, just throwing a absolutely banging Halloween party. So one year he opened up the garage. He sealed off anything he didn't want the public to have access to with like this black canvas sheeting. I don't know what it was called, but he'd wall it all off, and then he'd get a mannequin. He'd make one with his scuba suit. He'd stuff it full of Asda shopping bags, and he'd put a mask on it and a costume. So one year he had like an autopsy table with this mannequin laid out, and its stomach was full of sweets, and so trick-or-treaters could help themselves. Another year he made a witch's cauldron, and he put another witch dummy over it, again with the scuba suit. And we filled it full of candy for, again, people to help themselves to. It was in the doorway. We had the front door open, and we walled it off with more of that black stuff. And there was this witch's cauldron, and people could help themselves. And unfortunately, early into the evening, some teenagers came, youths, who were not even in costume, and they pocketed all of it. They took all of our fucking sweets. And Gareth, my stepdad, he was shouting at them through the letterbox, and we thought the whole night was ruined. But we ended up filling up the cauldron throughout the night with freshly popped popcorn. So I was at the stove all night with the saucepan with all these unpopped kernels, just making more stuff for the cauldron. It was fun. I really miss that. I miss putting so much effort into a Halloween party, or just making up the lawn. Another year he made a fucking full-on guillotine. Guillotine? I don't know how to pronounce it, but he made it out of, scrap wood that he had, and he put the scuba doll, on it, and he had the thing without its head. It was good times. I had a pretty good childhood. Sometimes. Depends. I don't know. Depends who you ask. But Halloween was always fucking fabulous. I miss it. And I gotta show. Oh, okay. We got some rare insults coming up. I'm looking forward to reading those. But yeah. I just got some pumpkin spice tea. That sounds nice. I've heard of coffee, but not tea. But yeah, I might have to try making it. I enjoy using the insults, you fucking cabbage. That's so Gordon Ramsay of you. Yeah, that's a good one. Mark says, lol, there you go. I'm dressed up as Dr. Frankenfurter. Yeah, that's an option. Yeah, certainly I have enough makeup to get the job done. Were they ever going to remake it, or did I have a dream that they were going to remake it without Tim Curry, or that he was going to have a different role as like the narrator? I forget. I got my tickets for RHPS already. Can't wait. I'm having a stupid moment. Rocky Horror Picture Show. Awesome. Hope you have a good time. Are you getting dressed up? You better. My go-to insult is douche nozzle. That's a good one, yeah. Douche nozzle is a fun one. I agree. Dice says, some Halloween specials I've always watched are It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Yeah, the Disney one. That's fucking awesome. I've seen that. Yeah, that counts. Witch's Night Out, Garfield's Halloween Adventure. Never saw the Garfield cartoon. That's more of an American thing, I feel. But I used to collect the comic books. The anthologies. They're in book form, but they were just full of comics. Ernest, Scared Stupid, etc. Ernest, I haven't seen the Ernest films, but maybe one day. I also enjoyed Douche Canoe and Twat Waffle. That's a great... Oh, do you pronounce it twat? Twat waffle? Like that? Those are stellar insults. Absolutely. You forgot cunt muffin. Stop! I'm going to have to write these down. Scuba Steve got his head chopped off. Yeah, exactly. Man, that scuba suit really... Yeah. It had a tremendous acting career. It did, that scuba suit. It got out a fair bit. Halloween Town is underrated. Haven't seen that or heard of it, but Halloween Town, what's not to like? One of my favourite insults is cultural philistine. Yeah, that's more of a... It seems to be an insult to someone's intelligence, like a direct, you're stupid, but in a distinguished kind of way. There was a sort of made-for-TV homage for Rocky Horror Picture Show. Tim Curry played the part of the investigator. Ah, that's his name, yeah. Given this was after his stroke. Oh, I didn't know he had a stroke. Oh dear, I hope he's alright. Laverne Cox played Frankenfurter. Oh, okay, so I didn't dream it. That's so... Okay, well, fair enough. At least he was still in it. That's fair, Laura. Yeah, fair enough. Excuse me, I've just got it. My voice is getting a bit, you know. And I even called someone a spotted dick once. Yeah, well done. That's a good one. You guys know Cecil from the horror show, right? Cecil Ed. He sent me something for my birthday. He sent me these Hellraiser themed Lament Configuration type drinks coasters, which is so sweet of him. And they came in this little hand cradle thing. There were 6 altogether, and unbeknownst to him, they'd been in my Amazon wish list for quite a while because I liked them. And I found this Hellraiser drinks coaster years ago at this vintage fair, but it's quite the worse for wear. As you can see, it's, you know, starting to be worn away, looks kind of grubby. But this was my, you know, prized possession for quite a few years. It was the only horror merch I had, and it wasn't even official. And now I have all these Hellraiser drinks coasters. I'm so happy to have them. Yeah, you know, shiny. I'm not really a horror collector type of person. If I see something that tickles my fancy, I guess I'll get it. But I'm not about collecting Blu-rays or signed photos or anything like that. I don't know. I think the movies speak for themselves, and I can be a fan these days without all the trappings that come with it. I don't mean to sound like I'm some hipster. I don't need those things to appreciate, you know, the art of film. I'm just not so interesting for me. But I do like these coasters, so I want to thank Cecil publicly for sending them to me, and I'm going to have to think of something to send him when it's his birthday next. Yeah. Where was I? I think I was just taking a drink, waiting for my voice to recover. One must have all sorts of horror merch around the house. Coasters are a must. They are. They're quite useful, to be honest. They're something that I actually use, and they don't just sit on a shelf gathering dust. And I hate to dust, so they absolutely would be. Come to think of it, I don't think I've fed my cactus in a while. I'll feed him tomorrow. It's a good thing about cacti. You don't need to keep on top of them for them to stay alive. I'm not very good at keeping plants alive. I have not got that green thumb. I have the black thumb, the thumb that kills plants. But yeah, this is Zeus. And I don't know what kind of cactus he is, because I got him from... I've never read this label before. I got him from Walmart, and the label says, "I love bright light, drought tolerant, great gift. I thrive on neglect," which is why he's lived so long. And I made this pot for him because I didn't have any ceramic thing knocking around, and I couldn't find any place that sold them, so I just got a glass and I painted it. And he's quite happy in there. But I need to give him some water, I guess. "You're simply a horror minimalist," says Dice. "I'll cover the extreme side with collecting." Yeah, you can collect enough for the two of us. Well, all the more power to you if you enjoy it, by the way. I don't mean to take away from anyone's hobby or their collection. You should absolutely have pride in your collection if that's what you like doing. I'm just not that kind of person. I guess my husband is. So, as you can see, lots of Blu-rays over there. I still don't think of them as, like, even partly my property, because I don't know how to work the Blu-ray player, and I haven't seen most of them, and if we get divorced, like, if it ever happens, then it'll be quite amicable. He can keep all of those things. I'm not bothered. There's some pop vinyls knocking around. There's other collectibles. There's stuff for his wall that he has in the other room. And, yeah, it's pretty admirable, all things considered, but still can't words. But, I don't know, maybe once I'm working again, I'll think about getting collectibles, but right now it's not a priority. Kind of like kids, you don't have to keep up with their needs. Yeah, yeah. I'm child-free for anyone who doesn't know, but one day I hope to be the mother of one, if not several dogs. We'll see. Charles has a bit of a fear of dogs, and it's semi-rational. He got attacked by one when he was a kid, so if we do get a dog, it's going to be something very small and relatively harmless with, you know, a squashed face so it can't bite him. I think his ideal is French bulldogs, and I do feel kind of sorry for them as a subspecies or a breed of dogs because they can barely breathe and they've got all sorts of other problems. But yeah, if they've already been born into this world, then I'm happy to take them in and give them all the love that I have. And if that's the only dog that we end up having, then I'll make peace with that. Zachary says, I'm back! My internet went out for a while. Oh, sorry to hear that. Welcome back. Glad to have you. Succulents are pretty resistant as well. I too lack a green thumb. My poor plant has been snapped in two and it keeps thriving. Yeah, there was a meme I saw the other day that says, nothing wrong with picking succulent leaves off the floor of Walmart and taking them home and growing your own succulent. Yeah, fuck the police. Which I didn't know you could do with succulents, but that's also another added bonus, I suppose. I used to collect cacti, and I mean, I had 19 of them at one point, and some of them were succulents too, and some I wasn't sure, I couldn't tell the difference. I had a kind of a spiky one that looked like this, called Dylan. They all had names that I can't remember now. Can everyone hear me okay? I feel like I've been talking so much that my voice is kind of rusty. Emily's Adventures in Horrorland collects hats. She just doesn't remember where she keeps them. Those are CP's hats, okay? There's, I think we're up to 18 or 19 now. I got him a hat rack that, there are a couple of belts that strap to the side of the door. And any door, they just kind of, you hook them on and then you tighten the belt strap and then they have these little hooks that you can put the hats on. And yet it doesn't seem to get used that much. He'll take a hat and he'll put it on and then he'll place it down somewhere. And so they end up just kind of collecting around him. Where was I in the chat? Just get one of those tiny dogs that looks like an actual teddy bear. Oh, the Bichon Frise? What are they called? The little poodly type things. Or, oh, I couldn't get a Chihuahua. They make me nervous, if I'm honest. They're very small and yippy and bitey and they move at the speed of light, but I guess I could love any dog, you know, given the opportunity. Just they make me nervous is all. You can come get mine, Em. Your dogs? If anyone's got dogs, I would be very happy to meet them or to Skype with them. Oh, I'm sounding like a lonely old crone now. What about a cat? I'm not opposed to the idea of cats. I don't know, cats they seem more aloof and you have to work to get their attention and their love, which, I don't know, if I was having a particularly depressing day, I don't want the cat ignoring me too. I think that would just be another kick in the pants. I'm not opposed to cats. One of my friends back home has a cat that is apparently quite antisocial, but I got him to take a liking to me, so that was fun. Audio sounds good here, that's good. Felix says, sure. I was bit on the face by a German Shepherd dog, and I love all dogs. That's good. I'm glad it didn't let it affect your daily life, and that you didn't develop any kind of phobia. Like I said, dogs, I mean, the wrong dog can take a snap at you, and it can absolutely rip your face off, but most dogs aren't like that, and if they are, then they just weren't trained properly. I mean, it's kind of an instinctual thing, and it's a shame that they have to be destroyed because one time they, you know, they do the wrong thing and they bite a child or whatever it is. Like, I don't believe it's the dog's fault. Like, dogs are kind of amoral, and if they do something wrong, it's because the owner didn't train them properly or they behaved like dogs do. It's just one of those things. Audio checked. Lovely. Golford's dog. Hey, my first time to tune into one of your live streams. Hello. Who's a good boy or girl? Who's a good dog? This is my first time having a dog in this stream. Hello. Nope, cannot hear you at all, Em. Not at all. Oh no, what a pity. Okay, so what have I got written down here? I've covered the differences between Halloween in the US and UK, for the most part. Covered memories of the holiday, different traditions. I've talked a little bit about what review to do for Halloween. Anyone else seen Paranorman? because I saw that recently and I thought, yeah, pretty good. It's by the same people who produced Coraline, Laika Film Studios, something like that. Laika, the names are. And it wasn't quite as good as Coraline, but I still liked it nonetheless. I think they're a tremendously talented animation studio. Stop motion and everything, it's pretty damn great. I have a saying, there's no such thing as a bad dog, only bad owners. Very true. Also bag owners, that's the thing apparently. Golfers, oh boy, who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Okay, that's weird enough. Dice says, my cat, the very first cat my family ever had, is a very loving and friendly cat. He's a red tabby. Oh, and I believe that breed is typically like that. Male cats tend to be more apt to cuddle. Oh, I didn't know that. Do they have to be, do they have to have had the thing done before they're happy to cuddle, or is it just that male cats are? I don't know. I like cats enough, but I don't like them enough to know what the different breeds are. I don't know. I know that there are fluffy ones and there are sleek ones. There are ones that have no hair. That's all I know. I have a purebred blue merle Australian Shepherd. Oh, he's a little shit, but I love him so much. Oh, that's lovely. I miss my dogs. I was thinking about my dogs the other day growing up. When I was 7, I was surprised on my birthday with a dog, and he was a rescue from the shelter, about a year or 2 old. His name was Kent originally, but we called him Biscuit. And oh, I loved him so much. I think he was a Manchester Terrier, and maybe a little bit of something else, but mostly a Manchester Terrier. And a couple of years later, we got a friend for him, a girl this time called Cookie, who was, I don't know what the fuck she was. She was just a little bit of everything, a proper mutt. Very, very scraggly, hairy, maybe a bit of Yorkshire Terrier in there, but the rest of it, God knows. But I miss them a lot. One of the things we used to do was they loved human food, but also cups of tea. And if you had a cup of tea, which was often in our house, and you had a little bit left, you'd put it on the carpet in the living room, and they'd come and stick their beak in and finish it. And I miss them so much. God damn it, I'm going to get sad now. Paranorman was so much fun. Mark's seen it, he likes it, good. Let's show that by Raiders. I have 2 dogs, Kenai, and Luna. 4 cats, Fat Bastard, Chewie, Leia, and Rey. Bit of a Star Wars fan, aren't you? Except the Fat Bastard one. He seems to be the outlier. Is he named after Fat Bastard from the Austin Powers series, or is he just kind of fat and a bastard? I only see one Emily. Is this even an Emily live stream? Oh god, that was more than a year ago that Braggart and Killjoy did their live stream. And I have yet to follow it up with anything even halfway as ambitious. Now I'm depressed. But hi Luke, good to see you. Oh, it must be early where you are. What is it, 5 a.m? What are you doing up so early? Interesting question. I guess it depends on the cat itself. Skimble, my cat, is just very chill regardless. Skimble, what a lovely name. Where'd that come from? We're talking about cats and dogs at the moment, and also the film Paranorman, which I quite like. It's a little bit mean-spirited, which I thought was interesting, but it has that message that, some kids are just misunderstood, and, families got to come around on that. And there's nothing wrong with being different and all that nonsense, but I don't know. Norman, he really... Nobody seems to like him. It's quite... I don't know if I got bullied at school, but I didn't have it half as bad as Norman did. Jesus Christ. Skimble is such a fabulous name. I agree. Quite unique. All depends on the disposition with either cats or dogs. Yeah, I guess that's true. With rescue dogs, it took them... They were a little bit harder to train because, they were living on the streets, I guess. They picked up some bad habits, and they might have suffered a little bit of abuse because Cookie especially, she got very nervous when anyone who wore glasses was in the house. So I think something might have happened to her at one point, but we loved them all the same, and they were good boys, and, they were a good boy and girl, and we loved them, and, eventually their disposition was perfectly fine. I spent a ton of time as a kid researching and learning about cats in preparation for owning a cat, so you've always kind of wanted one. Well, that's good. How old were you when you finally got a cat? We never got one, I think, because my stepdad was allergic, but His mother had 3, oddly enough. And, she'd take on any strays that came to the house. She'd, feed them, say hello to them. So whenever he visited his mother, there would be a couple of, odd sneezes, but yeah, we didn't grow up with cats. I have a German Shepherd, and she's the sweetest dog I've ever owned. Aw, German Shepherd. Yeah, they're good dogs. My uncle has a German Shepherd. He was just a puppy when I left the UK, but he's a big dog now. Very big dog. Good dog. Lol, that is the most British thing I've ever heard. What is? I've forgotten what I've said. Thank you. Named him after the Cats musical character. Oh, I've only seen that once on VHS a long time ago. Cats are everything. Mine let me dress them for Halloween and Christmas. That's nice. That says a lot that they let you do that, because cats I've known have not put up with any of that kind of shit. That's another thing. Charles says that if we do get a French bulldog, he'd like to put it in diapers, and I'm completely against that. I will teach the thing, to go potty outside, whatever, but I think it's kind of undignified forcing a dog to wear nappies, which is the UK word for it, but I don't know. I guess we'll have that argument when we're shopping for dogs. Eventually, Where was I in the chat? Up early. I haven't gone to bed yet. Got back from work around midnight, so up until almost 6 a.m. is part of the course. Oh, fair enough. Well, welcome to the live stream. It's kind of impromptu, but I'm glad you're all here. Skimmel just falls over if I try to dress him up. Oh, well, you tried. Yes, that is called permission. Daniel says, Frankenweenie is another good children's horror movie. It is. I should make a list of top 10 horror movies for kids, if you can call them that. They're like horror light, I feel. Like, they've got spooky themes and, might give you a few nightmares, but they're kind of light and bouncy in their own way. Yeah, I'll have to cover them at some point. So Coraline was the first review I ever did for my channel, so I'm totally up for reviewing another animated children's movie for Halloween, but I have to pick the right one, I think. I could do Paranorman, or I could do Nightmare Before Christmas. There's been others suggested so far. I could do Frankenweenie, could do Corpse Bride. There's a few. There's probably quite a few I could do. Frankenweenie is Yep, I've read that already. You're repeating yourself. It's pronounced Kenai, like night without the T. Oh, okay. It's a nice name, Kenai. Where does that come from? Is that a real name? I want to say I got Skimble when I was about 14 or so. That's nice. He's still knocking around then? Was he a kitten when you got him? Lol, someone needs to teach CP about life. No diapers on dogs. I think it's because he's seen Frenchies wearing them before, and he's just like, oh, that's appealing. We don't have to pick up after it. No accidents in the house. And I guess Frenchies are always being dressed up, and he thinks they look cute in clothes. I don't think that way so much, but agree to disagree, whatever. I don't know. I mean, poor Frenchies. Evolution did them really dirty. They can barely breathe. They can't mate on their own for the most part. Yeah. I think they were bred just to be cute, and I kind of feel sorry for them. But like I said, I would love one all the same. You could do Hocus Pocus. Ah, yes, the movie that mentions virgins no less than 200 times. Perfect for kids. Coco is technically 1st of November. It's 1st of November. What does that mean? Yeah, I could do Coco. I don't know if it's spooky. I don't know if it's a horror movie exactly, but it's got the Day of the Dead thing going on, like I said, and I'd be happy to cover it because I love the film to goddamn death. I have watched it so much. Dogs can wear diapers. They do have dog diapers available. I don't doubt it. I'm just kind of, I don't know. I think it's sort of weird myself. I would never dress up my old dogs, and they were still small dogs. They were terriers, but I wouldn't dream of putting a dog diaper on them. My mum had a dog too. It was a Bedlington Terrier, a purebred little puppy that she got for my 18th birthday, but it was her dog. And I grew to kind of dislike that dog because she was very difficult to train, just kind of stubborn. She would chew the shit out of things, and she would, shit inside the house, and she got away with murder, basically. I think my mother liked the dog more than she liked me by the end of it. But we trained her to go on a piece of AstroTurf outside my mother's my mother's home. At one point, she was relocated to a council house, and it was the upper floor of a house. And because my mother had limited mobility, she couldn't be taking the dog for walks all the time, and she didn't like me walking the dog around by myself. So we got a little bit of AstroTurf that sat outside the front door, and I would take the dog to go and do her business on that. And it smelt pretty fucking bad, and I hated doing it. So that was another thing. I feel like I couldn't hate any dog, but with that dog it came kind of close, just because, like I said, she got away with murder. Yeah, Skimble was a little kitten when I adopted him. Oh, he's a somewhat older gentleman now, very much active still. I'm picturing Skimble with a monocle and a little moustache now, you know, with its face in a cup of tea. My niece and nephew are obsessed with an animated movie called Monster House. Yes! I've only seen bits and parts, but it looks decent. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's, not my favourite, but it's got Steve in it, so it's got that going for it. I think the animation looks kind of strange. It's a little bit awkward, a little... Is it motion capture? I want to say it's motion capture, but... Yeah, it's definitely spooky. It's got that kind of spooky edge to it. So I could consider reviewing that, maybe for Halloween. Gotta scroll up. Goosebumps Haunted Mask 1 and 2 were creepy when I was a kid. I don't know about now, though. Oh yeah, I saw some Goosebumps episodes. I think I maybe saw that one. I definitely read the book. You put a nappy on an unaltered female during her heat to catch the flow. Yeah, I've heard about that. I think my granny, she had a dog that was in heat, and it would just drip blood all over the floor, and she'd have to mop up after it until she got the dog fixed. So I've heard about that. Yeah. Day of the Dead is November 1st, technically. Ah, I see. I didn't know that. I got Celine when she was 6 months. Oh. Celine was your cat dog? Day of the Dead, yeah. My kitty lived to be 21. I was super lucky. Her name was Disco. Wow, that is quite old for a cat. And Disco is an adorable name. I'm sure she was adorable. My mother... one of her dogs hated me, would eat up my movies, piss on my things. The dog wouldn't do that to any of her shit. Almost like it was being trained. Yeah. Like I said, it's just a result of bad training, I think. I couldn't bring myself to hate the dog that my mother had because she was just badly trained. And I think it was just more my mother's attitude toward the dog versus me. That's a whole story I could get into, but I don't do personal shit on this channel because it's boring. Oh, that's awesome, and an excellent name too. That's nice. We're all talking about our pets. My son was all, how come you're not sad when the dog died a few years ago? Well, we deal with death in different ways, you know. Could Beetlejuice be for kids? I know I used to watch it all the time when I was a kid. Yeah, it's got one F-bomb, and yeah, there's the Alec, is it Alec Baldwin? Yeah, there's the word pissed off that's in there, there's the F word, but apart from that, I think it's okay for kids. It's got some mild peril, it's got some scary faces, but nothing a kid couldn't handle. It depends on the kid. If your kid is especially sensitive, maybe wait until they're 11, 12 before showing it to them. I don't know, it depends. Watch it yourself and then make the decision. That's what I'd say. You know, don't just spring it on your kid if you have any doubts. Not that my opinion matters, I'm not a mother, but, you know, that's just what I think. Celine is my dog. Ah, that's nice. You should review The Beast with 5 Fingers, about a disembodied homicidal hand. Ooh, it sounds like could be a Twilight Zone episode, but nice fucking model, that's the one. Oh, and there's a whorehouse, technically, but, you know, it's not explicitly stated to be one, it's just girls, 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 and Beetlejuice, you know, books himself in for an extended stay. Yeah, depends on the kid. Depends on what you think they can handle. Okay, The Beast with 5 Fingers. So, Laura, I admit I don't keep up to date with my friends' channels as much as I should do, because I watch the same shit on YouTube over and over again to try and get to sleep. I want to know, how long have you been interested in horror? How long have you been doing it? Because I feel very underinformed, and I want to know what brought you to this horror thing, what brought you to make your channel, because I would be really interested to know, honestly. What are we going to talk about now? Okay, so we've talked about Halloween and everything to do with Halloween. We've talked about Psycho 2. So we could talk a little bit about Netflix horror, which, again, I feel like I've done a little bit of browsing. I found some properties that are kind of well known, like The Conjuring's on there. There's some, there's Veronica, which I haven't seen yet, but that was getting quite a bit of hype a year or so ago. And then there's a whole bunch that just seems to be obscure Netflix horror that, I don't know, we YouTubers just go and seek out and we post about it. It seems like a very niche market. Like, they don't get much marketing because they're Netflix, and Netflix don't really advertise, at least not that I can see. It's, I don't know, who makes these? How do you find these? How do you find out which ones are the good ones? It just seems like trial and error. I want to know what you guys think about Netflix horror. How do you seek it out? How do you find good Netflix horror, and what do you recommend? Felix says, we let our twins watch 13 Ghosts at 8 years of age. They loved it. So I don't have the context for this. 13 Ghosts. I'm confusing it with 13 Monkeys. I had a box set with Flatliners and 13 Monkeys that I've only seen half of that box set. I let my 5-year-old niece watch Cannibal Holocaust. You know, good wholesome entertainment. Oh wow, that's did she get scared by it? Did she understand it? I think before a certain point, maybe you don't get everything you're seeing on screen. I don't know. I don't know if that's, you know, has the potential to lead to nightmares or what. Maybe you have just a very mature 5-year-old. How did she deal with it? Hashtag best babysitter, yeah. I'm the cool uncle. We're going to watch horror movies. Don't tell your mother. Ugh, Netflix. Yeah, my reaction exactly. Although that's how I watched Coco, so I can't hate them. It's okay, babe. Lol. I've been into it since I was a delicate child. My dad let me watch Carrie at age 4. Oh wow. And what did you think of that? Do you have any strong memories of watching it? Did you have nightmares? Or were you just utterly intrigued from the outset? Daniel Hammond says, looking forward to Paul Rudd's new show on Netflix called Living with Yourself. Not horror, but looks really interesting and should be a good dark comedy series. That sounds interesting. Yeah, Paul Rudd. I don't know much about him as an actor. I've seen some of his performances. He turns in good performances for the most part. But I don't know him as a person. Tim, you confused being the cool uncle with being the gruel uncle. Yeah. Oh. What's the difference, indeed? Netflix is a bit hit or miss for me. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I've been kind of hinting at. I prefer Shudder personally. Yeah, maybe one of these days I should invest in Shudder. I'm a horror channel. Maybe I should just invest in it. Oh, I'm really looking forward to when I get a work permit and I can not only contribute to the household and you know, buy myself things at random on Netflix, on Amazon, you know, that kind of stuff, but I can also invest a little more in the channel. What the fuck am I doing with my Patreon money? I don't know. It's going towards groceries mostly. Yeah. There's the original 1960 13 Ghosts and the remake with Matthew Lillard on 2001. Right, Matthew Lillard. He's been in Scream, Scooby-Doo, which isn't technically horror, but it's very close. He's a bit of a Scream king. Is that a thing? He's been in some horror stuff. That's what I'll say. But yeah, what do you think of the remake? Any good? Netflix horror always looks on the surface like dog shite. Yeah. Some of them have good covers or good trailers, but I never know what to expect. To be honest, I'm just joking. I wouldn't even watch Cannibal Holocaust. CP's review was enough for me. Okay, I just read that awkwardly, sorry. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, that's my husband's channel, by the way, Willis Scredia. If you want to go watch his review of Cannibal Holocaust, it's on his Who Would Like That series, which hopefully he's doing something for that soon. It might end up with Luke of Razorwire Reviews. He might be doing Audition because it doesn't fit the criteria for Who Would Like That quite exactly, and Luke is doing his Asian cinema thing, so maybe I'll end up with him. I'm not so informed about that, but yeah, I thought I'd mention that, plug someone else. Marianne is pretty good as far as Netflix goes. Okay, well, if I'm not doing anything tomorrow evening, Marianne. That sounds like it's about some kind of evil possessed doll. I don't know. It's I have no idea. Yep, the hand coming out of the grave is still terrifying to me. I've lost my. I can't work. Brain's work isn't braining. Excuse me. I recommend The Perfection. I too prefer Shudder though. Okay, that we seem to be drawing a consensus. Shudder is the way to go. The Perfection. Thank you very much. I'll look into that. Thank you so much. I rather like the 2001 13 Ghosts myself, says Dice. My family watched it one night and my mum was like, are there any movies Matthew Lillard is in where he lives? I'm not quite sure what that means. Oh, because he tends to die. Oh, he lives in Scooby-Doo. I see. Yeah, he does live in Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo. Quite an odd film when you think about it. The second one is slightly more satisfying for me. Although, again, it has some very strange moments, like the potion sequence in the fridge, where suddenly Scooby becomes ludicrously intelligent, and Shaggy gets a chick's body, and then he gets fucking ripped. That's a scene that happens. I saw a good British horror on Netflix, but I can't remember the name. It had a Lovecraftian cultist theme. It was an is it real or not type with a satisfying ending. Oh wow, well, I don't know how you're watching Netflix if you're a dog, a good dog, but if you ever find it again, if it's in your list or continue watching, if you ever find it again, let me know because I'm interested. I showed her Scream beforehand, you see. Probably not the best movie succession. Oh, I see. So your mother likes horror too, I'm guessing? Or you're just trying to give your family an education? Either way, kudos. Oh god, I can't stand to look at myself. Does anyone ever get that? That's part of the reason why I haven't been making stuff, because I think my voice sounds fucking stupid and I hate looking at my own stupid fucking face when I'm editing. And my script sounds dumb and just... I don't know. I'm not enjoying my own company very much lately, but it's nice having you guys here. That's a distraction from all that. I like to get out of my own head a little bit. So thank you so much. It's almost like I'm, hanging out with my friends. I appreciate it. Okie dokie. Luke says, Audition is pretty fucking grim and yet has a really beautiful, tasteful sex scene, which 99.754% of films that have sex scenes don't. Yeah, you have a point. Yeah, and it is quite tastefully done. One of the more tasteful and rather beautiful sex scenes in recent memory was in the Blade Runner 2049. If you haven't seen it, there's kind of a hologrammatic three-way, but it's a lot more, it's not as weird as it sounds. It's quite stunning. It's emotionally very charged, and I don't know. I recommend seeing that if you haven't already. Yeah, but more tasteful sex scenes, please. My break is over, so it's back to work. But it was awesome to spend lunchtime in the chat having a fabulous live stream. Salad burp. Ugh. Have a great day, night, other thing, everyone. Thank you, Seb, and have fun going back to work. I'm glad you decided to join us. Everyone say bye. Bye, Seb. Daniel Hammond says, one thing that Scooby-Doo taught us is that all the monsters in the world are actually human. Yes, except for the live-action movies, where they chuck that completely out the window and monsters actually exist. I don't know why they did that, but that happens. But yeah, a good lesson to teach to kids, and to always be thinking rationally and to solve the mystery. I miss Scooby-Doo. Happy Halloween, says Tiger Man. Happy Halloween. I'll sniff it out. He's a good boy. That's why I don't do videos. I want to, but I see my face and hear my voice, and I'm like, nope. Well, these days you don't have to show your face. That's the joy of the internet. You can be completely anonymous, you can wear a mask, you can have a cartoon avatar that changes position every few frames. Or you can just, I don't know, you don't have to show your face. I mean, there's I Hate Everything, there's Minx, the manga Minx, or the RPG Minx, whatever she's going by these days. she went almost her whole YouTube career without so much as a face reveal, and only just recently decided to put herself out there. You know, it's self-confidence issues and whatever it is, but you don't have to show your face if you don't want to. You can, you know, retain a little bit of mystery, and I'm sure everyone would love to hear your thoughts, your opinions. Yeah, go ahead and make videos, Tim. I endorse you. I'll give you a shout out if you want. You sound great, Emily, and look immaculate. Thank you for your lies. Yeah, it's hard to get myself to believe it. You know, it's one of those things. My dog watches Netflix all the time. That's good. What does your dog like to watch? Anyone remember there used to be these channels you could choose to purchase that were exclusively to keep your pets entertained while you were out of the house? It was just, you know, videos of dogs and cats doing stuff. And actually our dogs found it entertaining because they heard barking and they saw dogs and they were like, dogs? What? Dogs in TV? Dogs! Other dogs. So that trial run we had for a week, it actually kind of worked quite well. Yeah, my mom enjoyed horror, says Dice. She actually showed my brother and I Gremlins when we were younger. She loved Alfred Hitchcock, Dean Koontz, that sounds like a racial slur for some reason, and Stephen King. That seems to be the way with most people who love horror. They were all introduced as a child. I wish I'd had that introduction, but whatever. There's no gatekeeping in the horror community. I feel like everyone's good with each other. It doesn't matter when you got your start. I like the horror community. It's usually very forgiving and amicable and good. It's very decent. If I don't want to hear my voice, I shouldn't subject others as well. I'm sure your voice is fine. Don't worry about it. Like I said, it's these insecurities are all in your own head. If you can get past them just enough to put yourself out there, I think you'll find that people will not have a problem with you at all. And yeah, I want to see you make videos. If that's what you want to do, you should go for it. We only live once. We could die any day now, you know. So I think you should go for it. If you're worried about equipment starting up with as well, you can start very small and very cheaply. I'm using the same webcam to stream right now that I did to make videos at the very beginning. I got it pretty cheaply. It's the Logitech C920, I believe. It's quite popular with a lot of YouTubers because it shoots in 1080p supposedly, and it's got very simple settings that you can fuck around with. Mics as well, you can get them very cheaply, and like it doesn't matter how you get your start, just put yourself out there and see what happens. Oh yeah, Snap on 2049, yeah. Good film. I'm glad we agree. I'm glad I kind of reviewed it, even though it wasn't horror. One of my patrons, Joseph Lionel, who is behind the whole Final Girls live stream, that was his brainchild, and he's a good friend of mine. He was the one who requested it, and because I hadn't stipulated I would only do horror requests on my Patreon, I ended up doing Blade Runner, and so that review exists on my channel. But I like it a lot, almost as much as the original. The Witch is on Netflix. I recommend it if you haven't seen it. The double V, the Witch, yes, that one. Yeah, I might have to see that. Oh, I've got to scroll back up. Where am I? Lost my place. Oh, people saying bye to Seb. We love spending time with you. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I like spending time with you. If I can ever figure out how to get OBS to work so that I can get other people to join in, I guess I would have it trained on Skype, and I would have to fuck around with the different windows. It's not outside the realm of possibility, but my OBS doesn't work very well because I have... This laptop is perfectly serviceable for normal stuff like writing and editing videos, but the hard drive space is so small, and it's such a basic stripped down computer that my OBS really struggles, and sometimes when I try to do a window capture, display capture, anything like that, I just get a black screen. So in future, I'm going to try and work out how to do these live streams and have people hop in and join me, because, you know, the more the merrier. And it would give my voice a break, because I'm losing my voice. Death Central. Hey! Welcome to the live stream. Hello. Luke says, I think it's normal for YouTubers. I get that myself too, but I make so fucking many videos, I'm kind of numb to my self-consciousness, for the most part, desensitized. That must be nice. I gotta make more content, I'll be honest. I applaud you. Anyone who has the work ethic to make as many videos as you do. Everyone go subscribe to Luke, by the way. The real quality content, I recommend him. Hi, Dice. Why, thank you. Okay, you're all chatting. Gulford's dog should start his own trailer reaction channel. I would watch the fuck out of that. Gotta be honest. Anything to do with dogs, absolutely. Bonjour Death Central. Just hit midnight for me. October is here. Hey! The month where horror channels are at their best. Yeah, we're all very busy this time of the month. That's gonna be fun. I still gotta work out what I'm doing. I've got a list of videos that I might do in costume. Thank you all, by the way, for your suggestions. I think the Beetlejuice one might be kind of the easiest to do because I have that jacket already, but the Nun sounds like it would be an interesting challenge. Sexy Art the Clown might be fun. Sadako, pretty simple, but I'd have to work out the lav mic thing. There's something I've got to work with there. Let me know what you guys have got planned for your channels during the month of Halloween. I'd be interested to know. Love Dean Koontz. Watchers is one of my favourite books ever. My mum introduced me to it. Awesome. What's Watchers about? Welcome to Halloween. October's going to be, yeah, very busy. I got to sort out this message from Dice. Show. I can't work out how I configure my chat so that it lets people swear, because that's annoying. It keeps messages for review if there's a curse word in there. That's annoying, but I'll approve everything that I see that isn't a fucking troll. Whatever. I hated my face and voice starting out on my channel, says Dice. Now I'm much more comfortable. That's good. That's good. I'm glad. Yeah, I think everyone starts out kind of uncomfortable, a little awkward, while they're still finding their voice. That's certainly the way with me. If you watch my very first video, it's pretty shit. I don't recommend it, actually. But yeah, it takes a while for you to come into your own on YouTube, and I think after a while you do become more comfortable, and you get a better can't speak. You get a better handle on your own editing and I don't know, your natural voice and your whatever. You know what I'm saying. Mark says she likes 1922 and Gerald's Game as well as Glitch. Those sound like good movies. I've heard of Gerald's Game. I am going to bed. No, I'm not. Shh, don't tell my phone. She likes 1920... I've read that already. I have not shown my face yet. That's up to you. I'm a fake horror fan for refusing to sign a petition that holds no legal water. What does that mean? Elaborate, please. Daniel says, I've been planning on starting my own YouTube channel as well, just haven't had the time or balls to do it yet. Well, let me know the moment you do, and I will... We could, I don't know, collaborate or something while you're finding your footing, or I could give you a shout-out if you're comfortable enough for that kind of thing. Absolutely, because I want you guys to, you know, do what you want to do and, you know, have a hobby or, you know, if you can make it big on YouTube, make some money, absolutely, go for it. But let me know, you know, if you're starting a channel up. I'll do whatever I can to make you feel at ease, help you any way I can. That should be on the Amazon page description. It's got very simple settings that you can fuck around with. Yeah, you tell them. Gulford's dog at false proxy sessions. A reaction channel? That'd just be a lot of head tilting. Oh, but that's adorable though. I love when dogs tilt their heads. You need a moderator, Emily. Yeah. There's a few people I've given a wrench to, I think. I don't remember who they are, but I trust you guys. Just as soon as I can get to them, I'll approve them, whatever it is. I'm going to bed, still up at 4 AM. I'd sub. Yeah, see? There's not an audience for you here. There's, yeah. So, yeah, go for it. Thank you, Emily. I'd appreciate that so much. No problem. Gerald's was great, but 1922 creeped me out. I've not heard of 1922, but I'll give it a look, sure, whatever. Anything else I got to cover today in this impromptu stream? That what was it? Oh yeah. So, I wanted to come to this stream kind of prepared with more films than I've seen in the last week or so. So, I finally got around to watching The Stone Tape. And this is available on... It's fucking taken me this long to mention the thing that's in the title of this stream. But I watched The Stone Tape today. It's a 1972 made-for-TV British thing. It's fairly old, so it's, you know, that old aspect ratio, made for TV, so that makes sense. And it's about a team of research scientists, and they come into this old Victorian building that's been renovated for the purposes of their labs. And but one of the rooms is kind of mysteriously sealed off, and the contractors haven't been working on it because they've been hearing, you know, they think it's haunted, basically. So they go in there and they find a ghost, and it depends, depending on the person. One of the scientists, whose name is Jill, actually sees something, and other people who are a part of this lab, they only hear things. They all have different reactions. So they take a very rational approach to this haunting, and they decide that it must be the stone steps that have somehow recorded this paranormal phenomena, and that the movie goes from there. And along the way, they do their best to find out what this recording is, and as time goes on, Jill comes to realize that the tape, the stone, you know, the stairs, whatever it is, the stone tapes have taped something else, something much older and more sinister. It's kind of going into spoiler territory, but if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. It's on YouTube in full, so there's nothing stopping you from seeing it. And I was really impressed by it. I mean, it's based on a play, and you can kind of tell. It's, yeah, it's a lot of standing around kind of thing. There's not a lot of dynamic shots. It's kind of shot as is. There's some impressive effects going on for the time, I'm sure. But, you know, visually kind of interesting, but also kind of plainly shot, if that makes sense. But I liked it. I like the character of Jill, who's presented as quite highly emotional, kind of irrational almost. And the guy who's fielding this whole thing, the head researcher, he's a very cruel and arrogant and petulant kind of man, and I think Jill is an ex-girlfriend of his. So initially he's like, oh, don't worry about it, I brought you here for your brains, I think you're intelligent, I need you on the team. But the moment things get inconvenient, you know, he shuns her, makes her take a break from the research, all this kind of stuff. It's this horrible kind of hypocrisy, like, I don't know, just moving her to the side, just getting rid of her the moment she's inconvenient. I don't know if that's like a misogynist thing going on, but it's quite unfortunate, and poor Jill, she suffers a terrible fate. And the build-up to the very end, what happens to her, is very well done. The evil that is happening in this Victorian building, it's something that you can't quite put your finger on, you can't see it or get a solid grasp on it. But that's what makes it so terrifying. It's an ancient primal evil, which is something that Jill says. She keeps saying that it's older. It's very old. It's much older than we thought. Which, I don't know. The idea of something that's evil and prehistoric, that's been hanging around for all this time, that is so horrific that you can't even describe it accurately. That really hits home for me. That's something I haven't seen done in many other horror films, horror media. I don't know if this play that came before it was inspired by a book. I don't know if this is horror literature that I'm kind of unpacking in my head here. But yeah, I recommend it for that purpose. It's terrifying in quite an unusual way. So I wanted to mention that, just to prove that I don't sit around all day not going to the gym, not doing anything. Not making content. I'm trying. I watched a thing today. That's more than I usually do, and I'm way behind on the chat now, so I'm gonna... where was I? Jason takes a Omegle. Okay, someone started a petition to somehow force Gun Media have their developers on the Friday the 13th game work on and release the completed Jason X/Uber Jason content while the lawsuit is going on. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Luke says, Watchers is about a guy who comes across a golden retriever who is impossibly intelligent, and there's another creature like him who isn't quite as friendly. suspense, horror-ish. It's great. That sounds pretty, interesting, and it's got a dog, so I'm going to watch it. Felix, been up 37 hours and 12 minutes. Yay! That's a long time. Are you tired? I was contacted by the petition author under a sock puppet account asking that I sign and promote the petition on my channel. I refused, so they made a bunch of videos calling me out, outing the sock. Well, that's unfortunate. Going behind people's backs like that, that's underhand. I don't like that. Felix, Dice and M, you both have great voices and faces. Your channels are great. Thank you. I agree. Dice is pretty good. Pretty fucking good. 1922 is a Stephen King made for Netflix special. I scrolled down too far. Luke says, oh, thanks for recommending people check out my channel, but I'd suggest people wait 2 weeks until my Asian season is over. Currently nuking my subscribers' subscription boxes from Orbit at the moment. Okay, 2 weeks from now, so mid-October, I suppose? So you all got to wait till mid-October to check out Razor Wire reviews, but make sure you do. Doggo says, sounds like Legend of Hell House, except without the psychosensuality. It's a sexy house. You and CP should look up Antonio Marias' Rise of the Boogeyman. Especially since Halloween is almost here. Definitely a must-watch for any horror fan, and it's on YouTube. I might do that as a kind of, because I need to do more content for the channel. I could do movie commentaries. I know they're just live streams, and they're quite low effort in that respect, but if you guys would like to see that, then maybe I will do it. And it makes sure that I actually watch a movie that someone asks me to watch, so there's that. Thank you, sir. I agree on Emily's part as well. Alright, it's turning into a circle jerk here, but yeah, Dice, you're awesome. Keep it up. Or fucking else. That's what I was thinking too. Sounds like my almost wedding night with the psychosensuality. Do tell. Daniel. He edits almost every horror icon and character into one 15-minute video and makes them look like they're all in the same movie together fighting and killing. Ooh, nice. A little bit of editing. Yeah, editing magic. That sounds good. Sounds like that nightclub edit that put hundreds of movie characters in the same scene. Really effing cool. There's a world out there I have yet to discover. Nope, not tired. Insomnia sucks, but took sleep aids tonight. Well, okay, I hope they work, and I hope you have a very restful sleep. The Scare House is surprisingly good. Is that a Netflix thing? Well, write that down. Scare House. Scared Hoose. You sound like a Lovecraft fan, Emily. Might I also suggest Clark Ashton Smith and Frank Belknap Long? Okay, they both, I'm swinging back and forth. I've got to stop that. That's distracting. Okay, so they're both authors, I suppose. Yeah, I'll give them a look. Excuse me while I write them down. Clark Ashton Smith. Is that a thing with horror authors going by 3 names? It seems to be a thing. Frank Belknap Long. Okay, interesting names. I'll look them up. Yes, Luke, just like that, but with horror icons. Laura! Well, thank you. Michael! Okay, we're just yelling things now. And why not? There are no rules to this fucking live stream, whatever it is. Excuse me. Probably should go to bed. Nice to hang out for a bit. Take it easy, and thanks for the memes earlier. That killed a few minutes in work. Good, I'm glad. Do you have any preference? I got a lot of prequel memes I can send you, but, I could, keep it a little bit varied and interesting. I don't know, it depends on what you like. You and Dice, thank you. Thank you. Dice certainly is. I feel like a fraud, frankly. Yes, authors, public domain ones. Ooh, okay. Well, I'll look them up. So, I've been meaning to get into at least some horror authors, because I'm still working on this history of horror, what do you call it? The video about the history of horror, and the one I'm working on now is the pre-1920s, but that encompasses a lot, and I'm trying to sum up as much of horror literature as I can. There are the main ones, like there's Lovecraft, and there's Charles Dickens, he wrote some ghost stories, and there's M.R. James, excuse me. There's a couple, but part of me is like, I want to give some credit to the female horror authors, you know, that don't get as much of a spotlight, but at the same time, I don't want to make this video too long and too all-encompassing, because that gets, you know, I got to keep it kind of succinct. I don't know, I'm in two minds about this whole thing. Prequel memes always land, but anything is fair game. Duly noted. See, I have a friend who sends me a bunch of memes, so some of those end up getting sent to other friends, but, you know, I try and pick out the best ones, and I'll find my own if I can. Like, I have a couple sources, Imgur, Reddit. Yeah, but where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so yeah, memes on the way, absolutely. Luke has subscribed to memes from Emily. I can do that. Okay, what else do I have here? Yeah, so the Stone Tape. So I feel like Jill as a character is the most interesting one, because she is the most emotionally charged, and that makes her look kind of, I don't know, highly strung and annoying at first, but she is genuinely very smart, and I feel like she's frequently kind of patronized by her boss, who's also her ex, and just their character dynamic is very interesting. Like I said, there's a perpetual haunting situation going on. There's a terror she mentions early on about, you know, this Victorian maid who died falling down some stairs, and she's horrified to think that this ghost has some awareness and that it's doomed to repeat the same thing over and over, and it's stuck there. But they rationalize that no, it's just like an echo from the past, nothing more than that. There's no consciousness there, you know. But then by the end, you know, her boss goes in there to wrap up any loose ends with her death. You know, he writes her off as being mentally unstable, and he destroys all her work. And then he goes in this room one last time, and he hears her dying screams, calling him by his name. And that's pretty fucking terrifying, I have to say. I have completely spoiled the ending. I'm sorry about that, but I recommend going to see it. I'm not really doing the thing justice. You might like it. It's on YouTube. Why not watch it if you've got, you know, an hour and a half spare? You should do readings of public domain horror authors. I've done a few, actually. I've done some creepypasta readings, and I've done some horror short stories that I could find. One by Neil Gaiman. One is an H.P. Lovecraft story, Cool Air. One of his, I don't know if it's lesser known, but it's not quite, you know, it's not overflowing with tentacled beasts like some of his other stuff. It's more, I don't know. I recommend it. You can find it online. A little bit of casual racism, but that's H.P. Lovecraft for you. He's, you know, white supremacist vibes. Females don't like horror. Are you crazy? Who had ever heard of a... Oh, my voice is fucking breaking up. Excuse me. Laura says, we're too delicate for horror, Zachary. Yes, we cry if a dog barks at us. We can't handle horror movies, don't be silly. Anne Rice, J.R. Ward, Teresa Gableman, all great female horror authors. Thank you. I'll make a note of those, and I'll do some research, and I'll maybe add them to that video. They deserve to be mentioned. Anne Rice. At the moment, I'm still in the pre-1920s, so I don't know if Anne Rice was alive and kicking around that time. I think she's more recent, but the others, J.R. Ward and Teresa Gableman, yeah, I'll give them a look. Thank you so much. I feel like I'm just stealing all your horror knowledge. It's, I don't know, I might have to credit you in these videos at this rate. Okay, so I guess the last thing I wanted to mention that I have written down on my itinerary, yeah, so at the moment I have been working on one thing fairly consistently, and originally I would have liked to bring it out in time for Halloween, but I don't know at this point. I'm still working on them. I've been working on my own horror short stories. I have enough of them to fill, you know, a short anthology. I think at this rate there's going to be 2 volumes, because some of the stories have similar themes, and I don't want it to be, you know, too samey within the confines of a single book. But yeah, I'm trying to encompass as many horror literature subgenres as I possibly can. There's some demon-y stories in there. There's quasi-Lovecraftian themes. There's a couple ghosts. There's I don't know. There's hopefully a little bit of something for everyone, and I'm working on those as quickly as I can. Hopefully, I would like to make them into a published thing that you can get a hold of, and I might make the proceeds, donate them to a charity of my choice. If you're a patron over a certain tier, then I'll send you a copy free of charge, obviously. Yeah, hopefully, I'm not meaning to plug myself too much, but it's something I'm working on. If you're interested, and if you want to get a handle on my writing to see if it's your kind of thing, try before you buy type thing, I do have a creepypasta story out there. It's called Clarabelle, and if you search Clarabelle creepypasta, you'll find it. It's the full story, and that's just one of the first volume of stories that I'm planning to write and release. So yeah, no credit needed, Emily. I'm happy to help. Well, thank you so much. Oh, some horror short stories, right? Oh, well, good. I'm glad you're kind of... Poe is one of my all-time favorite horrors. Yeah, I'm definitely going to mention him. How could I not? I don't think he has the same problematic, casually racist undertones in his works as Lovecraft does. I'm not sure. I'm not as widely read on him, but yeah, Poe can write some horror. He can write the hell out of some horror stories, so definitely going to talk about him. At this point, I'm still looking to flesh out the anthologies with just a few more horror shorts, so if you have anything, any suggestions, like any particular topics you're passionate about. Do you like zombies, werewolves? Do you like creepy cult stories? Do you like horror sci-fi? Do you like comedy horror, action horror, anything like that? I don't know. I don't know if the subgenres are the same for horror literature as they are for like film and TV and other mediums, but that's kind of what I'm working with. Beard of Horrors, what a name. Thank you so much, everybody. You are too sweet, you people. I'm lucky to have you as subscribers and viewers and people who join me for live streams. I'm going to get emotional. Love Poe, and I'd love to read your stories, Emily. Well, that's good. I'm glad. I hope some people get some enjoyment out of these. And like I said, I'll try and think of a relevant charity that the proceeds can go towards. I've been approved so far as my petition to remain on US soil is going, but I don't have a work permit yet, and as such, I don't know. I think if the book is published in the UK, I can kind of make money off that, but technically, but I don't know. I would just as soon like the money to go to some charity, because and if you don't like the stories, then at least you can go, oh, well, at least my dollar's doing some good. So, okay. Try reading some McCammon. McCammon, that's interesting name. McCammon. Thank you. Any particular story of theirs? Dice says, I don't know if I've developed a certain liking towards horror subgenres in stories yet, but I do enjoy stories with a twist. You're going to like my stories. I'm a bit of a twist fanatic. Almost all of them have twists. I've been reading too many Roald Dahl adult fictions. Has anyone read those? He had, short stories that always had a nasty little twist, like a kind of dark, quirky fictions. They were adapted into this TV thing called Tales of the Unexpected, and they have the same kind of ring as like The Twilight Zone or Black Mirror to a certain extent. It's that kind of thing. It's not necessarily horror, but it's very dark and twisted. So I think I've been influenced heavily by him. Lucky I found your channel. You are too... Thank you so much. You are too sweet. The lighting tonight looks kind of darker in a cinematic way. I know that's weird to say. Yeah, usually when... I don't know. I'm by a window, so often I have this curtain open here. Oh, whoops. Sorry about that. Usually I have a curtain open just there, and that lets some daylight in. But at the moment it's just the overhead light and this lamp over here. Which, it's not a lamp really, it's a mirror that has a light that goes around it. It's like a bootleg ring light that is it's not strong enough to be a ring light. What am I saying? I love it all, but witches, vampires, and werewolves are all my favourite subgenres. Alrighty then, I guess I'll work on some of those, because, fuck it, no, the webcam's still fucked up. Let me fix that. Are we good? There's a delay, I can't see yet. Yeah, I need to write some more monster fiction, some more stereotypical vampire, werewolf, that kind of stuff. So I'll work a few of those in. I'll see what I can come up with. Yeah. This. Cool. Excellent, lots of twists. Yep. Twisty, like a corkscrew, basically. That's the book I have planned. Books. I think there's going to be 2. I might release them at the same time, or I might do one now, one next year. I don't know. I should have had them done by now. Back in January, I was like, oh, got loads of time. And then it ended up never happening. But yeah, I hope to have that done very soon. And I'll probably go through some self-publishing thing, like, I've forgotten the names of some companies now. I've self-published stuff before, so I could get a hard copy of my own book to proofread and, like, just to see what this latest edit is like. And I've never gone the full way to finishing and publishing a novel. But I'm kind of familiar with self-publishing, so I'll probably go that route, and I might make it available as an ebook too, just for convenience's sake. So let me know what you prefer in any case. A creepy home invasion short story would be fun. I kind of have one story that involves someone entering the house of someone who is kind of creepy, and there's something sinister going on there. I mean, technically it's the innocent party who invades their home, but yeah, I could do one of those. Yeah, I'll think about it. Thank you. Creepy home invasion. Those are always I don't know if horror movies frighten me per se. It's very unusual that a horror movie will have a profound effect on me and give me nightmares. Unsane did that for me, but usually I can get past my fear by thinking, hey, it's just fiction, it's special effects, it's a script, it's hours of filming and editing, so I know it's not real. But I don't know. You see on YouTube these PSAs that, you know, relate to horrible workplace accidents or things that can happen in real life. Those scare the shit out of me, and I have a video about my top 20 PSAs, disturbing PSAs, public service announcements or public information films in the UK, and also those, you know, those Reddit stories, let's not meet, or, you know, true stories of horrific and weird encounters that people have had, you know, real life horror stories. Those scare me because, you know, those things happen. Your doctor might be an angel of death. You might have someone break into your house in the night, and, you know, The Strangers apparently was based on a true story, although it upgraded it from a house breaking to full-on slaughter. So yeah, you beat me to it. The Strangers and Vacancy, yeah, exactly that school of thought. Okay, I've got to catch up with the chat. Looking forward to future content, Emily. You and CP are some of my favourite YouTubers. Thank you so much. I'll tell CP. He'll be pleased to hear that. Doggo's back. Write something with a canine protagonist. I was going to, actually. Yeah, definitely going to do that. Canine protagonist. Maybe it could be a tie-in with the werewolf story. I could do it like a 2-for-1. Yeah, definitely doing that. Thank you. You will at least be pleased by that one, if no one else is. I always enjoy holding a physical book myself. Sometimes ebooks are more convenient, granted. I used to have a Kindle. I left it in the UK because I could only bring a certain amount with me to the US. But I always figured it was kind of a mixed blessing. Like, if you have a Kindle, you have access to so many books all at once. And they're very convenient. You can bring them with you anywhere. But if you lose the Kindle, you've kind of lost your entire library. I don't know if you can back up your books on the computer. I simply don't know. But yeah, it would suck to lose all your books all at once, you know, because you left them on a beach in Tenerife. Same here, Dice, says Laura. I rarely read anything online. Not even creepypastas? I don't even know if that's a thing anymore, if people still read them. They had their heyday in, like, 2014, when I was still in university. I did my dissertation in the 3rd year on creepypastas, actually. That's how Clarabelle got written. Ooh, a creepy home invasion where the burglar breaks into the wrong house and finds a Norman Bates mofo. Yeah, apparently that's happened in real life, too. You hear some stories. Yeah, says Dice. I suppose an odd way of putting it is that there's a better connection to the story if I'm actually holding the book. I think I know where you're coming from with that. But yeah, I have to think of titles for these books. I have some working titles, like just Clarabelle and Other Stories, or the Cinnamon Skull and Other Stories, whatever. I have to decide what order they're going in, but I'll probably keep you posted on that either on my Facebook page or probably Instagram. You'll be hearing about it there. Yeah, hopefully enough people are interested that they want to read it, and I'll keep working on it, and I'll take some of your suggestions and I'll make some fiction happen. I'm looking forward to it, actually. I feel kind of inspired. Do I stay up all night and write because I'm kind of on a roll and feeling it, or do I take my meds as usual and wake up tomorrow feeling groggy as fuck and then maybe start on it tomorrow afternoon? I don't know. That's my dilemma, because I take psych meds that help me sleep, but if I don't take them, I don't sleep. So that's kind of useful in its own way, but I don't know. I like having an off switch, so to speak, and the option of not sleeping, but if I stay awake all night and into the next day, I feel kind of strange. I'm all like wired and I can't concentrate on anything. And I'm kind of ropey and I don't know, it's really not worth it. Okie dokie. I read ebooks when I travel, so I don't have to bring my books, but that's about it. Yeah, I feel like the Kindle's good for when you're, out and about. You don't want to be blinded by the sun on the page of a real book, or, it's just easier to carry around. The history of your purchases stay with your account, so you can always recover your books. Oh, that's good. I'm glad. So, yeah, Kindle's not so bad after all. Quarantine virus outbreak with Milo and Otis. Cat and Dog has the pro tag. Is this a thing that already exists, or is this a suggestion for my short story anthology? Plus, I'm one of those weird people, says Dice, that likes the texture of a book and sometimes the smell. With you on that one, do you like the new book smell or the old dusty, antique-y, papery kind of smell? Makes sense at Freaky Girls Live. I always smell my books. Yep, okay, good, I'm glad we agreed. Yeah, I kind of like the smell of antiquated paper, even if, I don't know, depends on the book. Some of them do smell a bit kind of, is this human skin? I don't know. So I think I've talked about everything I mean to talk about. I've written tentatively nightmares. I've had a few of those, but they're not very interesting. Had one last night. I was this Italian restaurant owner who lived above the business, so I was kind of looking at my front gate during a storm, and there's a figure standing there with her hands around the bars, and she's illuminated in every, crack of lightning. So that was kind of strange and spooky. And then further on in the nightmare, she gets into my estate, and I find out she's a leper, and she makes a beeline for my baby's cot, and she starts nuzzling him, and I'm like, no, my baby's going to have leprosy. And I wake up and I'm like, oh, I don't even want children, what the fuck? But I don't know if I can go any further with that particular topic. I don't know, have you guys had any memorable nightmares lately? Books? Nerds! I wanted to shout it louder, but there's people sleeping beneath me, so I can't. Dice says, it varies. I kind of like both, all kinds of book smells. I prefer the term geek, sir, as opposed to nerds. Is there a difference between the two? I got the impression that a geek was a more holistic kind of nerd, or the other way around, I can't remember. God damn it, Zachary. I can't see how many people are still with us. 10 likes on the video. That's not bad, thank you. Oh, 20 people watching. Good lord. What are you guys doing up so late? Brian Goes Blue. Good name. I like the smell of a freshly opened book, I guess. Anything really. Something about the fresh factory smells. I used to like the smells, this is probably weird and specific to me, but I used to like the smells of, whenever we had pirated DVDs, they would always come in these kind of bootleg DVD cases with a paper cover, and I like the smell of that. It was kind of a dusty, old plastic factory smell, but I don't know, did it for me. I prefer highly enlightened demon, says Mark. I prefer the term book aficionado. Angel says, it might already exist, just a thought. It's a good thought. You never hear about how apocalypse type scenarios affect the animal kingdom, do you? I thought a while ago I was watching this book about the well, what's it called? The Abominable Snowman, the Yeti, the Sasquatch, whatever his name is. And I thought, why can't we have a story about the Sasquatch from the point of view of the other animals that have to live in the woods with him? That might be interesting, but no one's done it yet. I remember the smell of a new VHS case. Yeah. Oh, that takes me back. So much nostalgia. I want to thank you guys for turning up to this stream. I've had a good time, and I started off kind of anxious, and trying to set the thing up was stressing me out, so I was running on anxious energy, and I'm talking kind of weird at the beginning, I think. But yeah, I've had a good time here, and I hope you have as well. So you're good? Not having any nightmares recently to speak of? I guess I'll be wrapping it up soon. But I've had a really good time, and I want to thank you all for turning up. I appreciate it. And tomorrow, I'm going to get on with some writing. And I guess for Patreon, I'll talk about Psycho 2 some more. I have the notes, so I guess I'll be working on that. Oops, excuse me. I've been planning a couple video essays that I should fucking get on with already, because I feel bad for my patrons. They haven't been getting a lot from me recently, and I want to make up for that any way I can. This live stream, I don't know if it makes up for anything, but yeah, tomorrow I'm going to buckle down a little bit and yeah, get some stuff done. At the very least, I want to get cracking on these short story ideas that you've given me. I think I had a nightmare semi-recently, but as it tends to happen, I can't really remember what it was. It's probably for the best, to be honest. Have you ever gotten sleep paralysis? You wake up and you can't move and you think something spooky is happening in the same room? I used to get that because, I don't know, probably the wrong psych meds, you know, side effect of starting on a new one, whatever it was. But I would wake up and be frozen solid, and I'd hear weird things in the corner of the room, like a snake slithering around or a bee buzzing, getting closer to my ear, you know, on and off, that kind of thing. Just not what you want to hear in the middle of the night. I had a blast. Oh, thank you. I'm glad. I had a blast too. Thanks for everyone for turning up. Angel says, hope you feel inspired to continue writing. Yeah, I think I will. Yeah, I've got to work on this viral outbreak Milo and Otis type thing. That sounds pretty fucking decent, actually. Wow. You guys should be, I don't know. I think it's a shame there are so many good ideas out there that never come to fruition. So much potential out there that we'll never even know about. If you've given me a story idea, I'll go through the chat and I'll see who you were, and I'll make sure to credit you, because they're your ideas and people should know that. Yeah, so, oh, thumbs up, 22 people. Wow! How is that? Why are there 21 people, 21 people? I mean, they could be doing something else like sleeping. I take meds so I don't dream because of night terrors, sleep paralysis. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Well, I hope that doesn't happen to you too much. Jesus. I've had a brief bit of sleep paralysis. I woke up and saw a couple shadowy, wild-haired figures with wide and beady eyes watching me. I didn't bother to move, really, and just went back to sleep. Well, that seems to... I guess it did the trick. That seems to be a common theme. One of my friends, they have got the flu kind of at the moment, and they just had some sleep paralysis, and they saw a dark, shadowy, hairy figure by the bedroom door and thought it was their dog, but then they realized the dog was lying at their feet and do. So yeah, it seems to be like a dark, shadowy figure. That seems to be the standard, for obvious reasons, I guess. Is it a collective consciousness type thing, or is that really just, I don't know. You never really know, do you? I don't know. I'm just rambling now, but I think I'm going to wrap this up. It's getting on for 2 in the morning. Yeah, and I should be taking my pill so I can get to sleep. But I want to thank everyone again for joining me. Thank you for so many of your suggestions and your comments, and I'm just brimming with ideas now. You've got me all charged up, and I feel so much better than I did when I started the stream, and I got to thank you all for that. So I know not this sleep you speak of. Poor Mark. So yeah, I'm going to go now. If I can... Oh, where do I go to end the thing? Over here. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope you have a very nice morning slash late night, wherever you are, whatever the time zone is. So, good night, Jason. Good night, Laura, Felix, Dice, everyone that's... Oh, one last message. I've also seen giant insects above my bed and bolted out of bed on reflex. Oh, good lord. Yeah. What kind of insects? Like praying mantises? Okay, everyone's saying goodbye. So I've said it like 20 times, but thank you so much for turning up to this stream. I hope you have a great rest of the night or beginning of this day, and I'll see you here again soon. Goodbye.